No, I can't! There's only one Darwin! He's here! Darwin's here! I can feel it! Gumball, wait! Gumball!
Alright, got me, make some pepper, yeah.
6 whole seasons, 240 plus episodes, 44 hours of content, and I went through all of it and reviewed and ranked it. For no really reason, I mean, I kind of just did this on a whim. I wanted to see if there was any way that I can make a Gumball video, as I just wanted to show my sort of love for the series and kind of try to express something I really like on my channel. And it was at this point where I also saw that LS Mark made a video ranking every Simpson episode, and that was a catalyst that started this project. So I decided back early this year that I would rank every single Gumball episode using the only way my goblin brain knew how. Through Minecraft tier list. Also, this video is going to be split into 2 parts. This part will be going over seasons 1 through 3, and the second part coming out soon will cover everything after season 4. I'm RT, and I can't guarantee that most people will watch this video all the way through. I can't guarantee that this video will make any money. All I really hope I can guarantee is that you'll enjoy it. As someone who's been obsessed and in love with the Gumball since I was a kid, I really tried to make my reviews of these episodes actually make sense. If some of them are shorter than others or less in depth, it is what it is. But yeah, this video took months. So I hope you enjoy. And what's good, and everyone that was already here, I'm back. I had to leave to make this. All right, enjoy. Actually, one Gumball episode that doesn't fit into any of the seasons that came before all of them, and that's the pilot from 2008.
Okay, buddy. Today's the day we break out of school.
Alright, so in 2007, you know, Ben Boclay, the creator of the show, the god himself, he was brought in to help some cartoon creators pitch their shows to Cartoon Network, and the Gumball show idea was originally sparked up where the show was about a bunch of rejected cartoon characters going to a school together, which eventually evolved into the new show's premise of 2 wacky dudes. Look at everybody. You got Tina, Rocky, Carmen, she just gets folded. Alan the Balloon and Masami the Cloud were a couple. That detail's gonna be important later. Also, look at how different Gumball and Darwin look. Darwin was a little cute ball of 3D and Gumball was just really ugly, and by the end they kiss in Hector's jiggly cheeks. Incredible. Now let's get into the actual first real episodes of Gumball. Season 1 of Gumball is definitely the weirdest out of the bunch, only because the show was really trying to figure itself out, and you know, it was new, it didn't really have anything going. But even then, and even when I talk about bad episodes, remember, I'm talking about Gumball here. So even the show's worst episodes are way better than some other show's worst episodes. But even for this being the fetus era, there are still a lot of bangers this season. I feel like a lot of people sleep on it, so let's get into it, starting with the first episode of Gumball, the DVD. In the first episode, our main duo, Gumball and Darwin, ruin a disc that they rented from Laserdisc. It was a movie, Alligators on a Train. Oh, the best movie. They then go out and try to look for solutions before Mom can catch them, and they get in major trouble. And dude, I gotta say, after looking through the entire show, wow, this art style was weird. I'll get more into it later, but god, everything was so strange looking. I was surprised because I forgot how good this episode really was. Like, this was the first episode that aired, and yet it's got a few bits in here that could still be valid today, and it even does a good job establishing our main characters. Here in a scene, we see Nicole come home and figure out the boys have been hiding this disc from her. So they set out on a chase scene through various yards, and right off the get-go, you can already see Nicole being a badass. It's a very important character trait that makes her really likable. I especially like the end bit where you expect to see Nicole and mad at the boys for stealing a Laserdisc, but when she hears the price, she immediately flips and runs away with them out of the store. And this even sets up another character, Larry, who is the abused retail worker for just no reason. Also, the fake little movie that they made to try and trick Larry was so cute, and it gave me the vibes of home videos I used to make when I was like 7. Number 2 is The Responsible.
I'm here to sit on the baby.
The 2 bros need to learn how to be responsible, so they're put in charge of taking care of their younger sister, Anais. Hey yo, if your name's Anais watching this video, Get a better name. Nah, just kidding, I love you. Anais is this cute little ball of sarcasm and way too smart for her own good. When Anais was originally introduced, I remember not liking her that much actually, because she was the mean little sister that was more annoying than cute sometimes, and while I can see where I was coming from back then, at her worst, she's not a bad character at all the rest of the time. Things go wrong fast, and they don't only end up setting their TV on fire, but also flooding the entire house. And this wasn't a bad introduction, as it introduced how smart and clever she was, thinking of ways so they could unflood the house, and ways that she can get around Gumball and Darwin. It also shows how dumb the main boys are, probably going right below the DVD.
Hey, don't worry, we can use this diaper as a parachute and float safely down the...
Episode 3, The Debt, is the first episode of the series where we meet our main grumpy guy, Mr. Gaylord Robinson. And god damn, does he get introduced with a good episode. So Gumball feels like he owes Mr. Robinson a debt after he quote-unquote saved his life. He didn't really save his life, but Gumball just is kind of a simp for Mr. Robinson and wants to pay him back. And none of his attempts to save Mr. Robinson's life have been working out, so Darwin and Anais set up this plan that during Mr. Robinson's performance that he's going to be doing at the Elmore Junior High soon, that they would set up a situation where Gumball would have to save Mr. Robinson. And once he gets to the stage of this Elmore event, he goes crazy on this dance sequence. Like, low-key, bro, Robinson kind of snapped a little bit.
Up till now, my life's been good. Treated me well. I can't complain. Met a woman, raised a kid, and every day just felt the same. But there's something deep inside of me that always wanted to be free. And now I think the time is right to show you what I mean. I wanna sing, I wanna dance, I wanna touch the sky with my own two hands.
The lyrics of the song are also an introduction to his character because they're about breaking free from his life and being happy, and throughout the entire series we see him hating his entire life, just wishing he could escape from it, until a light nearly falls on Robinson after the set and Gumball actually does save his life. And after all this song didn't end up carrying the episode. The jokes here are on point, just the way the story unfolds is great. My personal favorite was when Gumball tries to save Robinson from choking and he ends up spitting his heart out. So we just see like this dying man on the ground trying to eat his own heart back in while Gumball is just there like spectating. Number 4, The Third. Someone named the 4th episode The Third. I want whoever did this to be fired. This one's pretty alright. We got introduced to Tobias first in this episode, and he hasn't really evolved as a character yet at this point, so he's kind of just like an object to progress the story rather than an actual person. The episode is not the only, but the first Gumball Gets Replaced episode, where someone takes the spot of Gumball in the Waterson's life. After debating and playing some games together, Gumball and Darwin speculate on having a third person join their group so they can have fun with them too. Instead of inviting their literal sister to play, sorry Anais, they run into Tobias, who's rich, colorful, and has a ton of video games at his house. And after Tobias invites Darwin over to his house, Gumball can't come since there are only 2 controllers for his consoles. And Gumball is too anxious and too afraid when Darwin actually takes up the offer to go to Tobias's house and play Fortnite that he actually has to race over there as fast as possible to get his best friend back. In the end, they truly end up reconnecting and Tobias is left alone, not really doing anything the whole time. Number 5, The End. The solar eclipse is about to happen, but Gumball and Darwin mistake the eclipse for the apocalypse, and we get to see them go and live out what they think are the last 24 hours of their life. They find out about this apocalypse through some very, very subtle hints as well. Like, you wouldn't even notice this if they didn't point it out. Hey, but good on the writers for this one, man. This is a plot that I feel like that's been done with a bunch of other cartoons, not specifically about the eclipse, but living out your day like it's your last day on Earth, and I think they pulled it off in a uniquely funny way. And the bit with Richard going along with all of it sets up how dumb his character is, while Anais and Nicole question it, solidifying them as the smart ones. Kind of cemented this as another great introduction to the family. But still, this is disgusting, even 11 years later.
I'm going to kick the door open. Yep, that's exactly what happened last time.
Episode 6 is The Dress. After Richard accidentally destroys his only clothes, Gumball is forced to go to school in his mom's old prom dress. It's the last thing they have for him to wear. He then experiences what it's like to be a beautiful girl. And this episode plays off that bit where if you're beautiful, you could literally do anything you want. But this episode isn't really well known for femboy Gumball here, but instead, his secret admirer.
Believe that, Darwin? Darwin? She dropped her button. How
boy.
Darwin doesn't recognize his Gumball in the dress and falls in love with him, turning him into a stalker, a furry artist, to an abusive husband, all in one episode. And I was really stuck in the middle watching this one because I'm not sure whether I find it hilarious or disturbing. This is one of the funniest episodes of the season for me, with Gumball trying to come up with a fake name, the fake him popping on the sun, and especially all the adult jokes they snuck in here.
In a few years, Darwin will move on and meet another girl.
And if he doesn't?
And yeah, the message about beautiful people getting whatever they want is like a really negative view and not even really true about the world. But I have it so high up on here because it just cracks me up every time I see it. It's a classic. Episode 7, The Quest. On the school bus, Anais is getting bullied, and the bullies take her beloved doll, Daisy the donkey, and drop it out, which after being picked up by multiple people, ends up in the claws of one of the school bullies, Tina, the literal T-Rex. And you know, when Gumball and Darwin try to get the doll back, they're met with a very positive reaction. But now, since they can't just take the doll back, they actually have to sneak into Tina's yard while she's sleeping and steal the doll back away from her without waking her up.
Anais!
What?
You see that pole over there? Throw it to me.
Okay.
No, no, he can't get.
And spoiler alert, they kind of failed.
Sweet dreams.
And Tina wakes up and chases them through the junkyard trying to get her toy back. This episode tries to go for a more creepy atmosphere and some action-filled scenes later on, which was very different for the series at the time. I enjoyed it a lot. And at the end, when Tina was like crying to get the doll back, and man, that's how I knew I would love this show. The fact that this episode was able to make me feel sympathetic for a goddamn man-eating dinosaur just speaks for itself, honestly. Episode 8, The Spoon! This one's one of my classics, simply because of how it looks. The animators went magnifique on this one. The fast-paced and jittery sort of animation style with the sharp lines and the speed of it all, it just feels different, and there's a different vibe for this episode that gives it that wackier feel. In this story, we first meet the character Sal Left Thumb, which is a notorious thief that's shaped like a fingerprint. He goes into this convenience store and robs it for all they got, while at the same time dodging the police because it's just, the police are so dumb in this world. I mean, in real world too. And Gumball and Darwin actually show up after getting permission to go and buy some stuff. They accidentally end up helping the robbery, until once they're done packing bags, they see their family also tied up by Sal, and they have to stop this entire situation from happening. And at the same time, they gotta avoid getting spooned, which is then followed by this crazy chase through the convenience store on the back of a hydrogen tank and scooters and a bunch of antics to stop Sal. Having the series' first ever fourth wall break, the craziest chase scene in the season, and its bits are the reason it's going above most for me. Episode 9, The Pressure. The boys, along with their friends Tobias and Banana Joe, swear to each other to pals before gals, which is just bros before hoes. But when we cut to the girls' treehouse, we see all of the girl students sitting there and talking about different things when Masami the Cloud Girl brings up boyfriends.
You don't watch boys. You kiss them. What?
And she challenges all the girls to bring their boyfriends to the treehouse and kiss them. So yeah, the girls discuss who has a boyfriend and who doesn't, and that's when Masami says that Darwin is her boyfriend because she doesn't have a boyfriend and she had to come up with a random guy, and that he'll kiss her in front of everybody. I'd say this episode had like 2 actual really memorable bits, and that's Gumball getting folded.
I can't do that to Penny. On one hand, I created diversion and saved Darwin, but on the other hand, I splashed Penny
and the accidental bro kiss at the end. These two homo kings accidentally end up kissing when the whole treehouse starts coming down. But I do have a complaint about this one, and my only complaint is that there should be more Penny. I love Penny, dude. Ever since I was a kid, I had a crush on her, and I would be so happy whenever this nut came on screen. Penny is this peanut girl that we're established from the get-go that Gumball has a crush on. And what was wild is that she only got better and better with time without really any misses in her catalog. I think my favorite thing about her is that she was similar to Gumball, is where she wasn't this really perfect crush character that you might see in cartoons sometimes. No, she had her own flaws, she had her own personality, she had her own friends, and she really felt like a like character and not just some object. Her and the other girls' introductions were better than others like Tobias's, since the girls actually had more lines to define their personality, and even though Penny showed less of hers in here, that's just because that's how she was back then. You could still even see that Gumball and Penny had great chemistry, even from the first few interactions of them being together. Episode 10, The Painting. Here we're first mainly introduced to the Elmore Junior High school principal, Principal Brown, who discovers a painting Anais made of her family, where you can see them being their good old dysfunctional selves. And Principal Brown sees this as a cry for help from Anais, so he tries to correct this by reversing the family's roles to try and make them more like a normal family. Where Richard goes to a job, Nicole tries to stay home and relax, Gumball and Darwin actually try to be good students for once. Where this episode really shines, I'd say, is the ending, because we see that nothing worked at all, and we see just the family go crazy by the end, using what they learned in the wrong way. And it's great to see them as the same dysfunctional family that they always were, because that's what Anais loved about them in the first place. And these are my favorite Wattersons, man. The dysfunctional family who are all equally as wild and crazy and dumb. It's really nice to see. Unfortunately, we gotta slope down a little and talk about episode 11, The Laziest. Richard claims that he is the laziest person ever in the family in Elmore. All he does is nap and lay down and watch TV, doesn't do any sort of work, but the boys don't believe him, and he actually challenges the boys to see if they or anyone else they can find can beat him in a lazy off. So they go out to search for someone who can out-lazy their dad, and that's when they come across Larry. But Larry's the hard-working everyman character that has like every single job in the city. Well, the thing is that we find out something about Larry's past that serves literally no point in this episode. The boys find out that before he had a girlfriend, a house, a car, a job, he used to be the laziest guy in the world. Hearing this information, Gumball and Darwin want to make him lazy again to beat their dad, so they completely ruin his life. They make him lose his job, his car, his fiancée, and his whole entire house. And once everything Larry worked hard for is gone, he finally turns back into the good old lazy version of himself. But guess what happens after he turns lazy again? Literally nothing.
Well, that was a pretty long time out.
Yeah, but now we've got someone who can beat you. Lazy Larry!
So where is he?
Here! Huh? What the?
Hi, this is Lazy Larry.
Hey Larry, it's Gus.
But I'm too lazy to pick up the phone.
After they get him lazy again, they go back to their dad, they try to call him, and he hangs up on them because he's too lazy to answer the phone. And he doesn't come up again for the rest of the episode. We just watched Gumball and Darwin annoy Larry until ruining his life, and then we watched this not really funny sequence at the end of the episode. I just remember from like the first day I saw this when I was younger, I hated it off rip, and I don't really like it that much now. There was just no point in Larry being here. I mean, that section where they really just turn him back into the lazy guy, well, it served literally no purpose, and I didn't think it was all that fun. And that was like most of the episode, and it all being useless at the end was just like, it just felt like a waste of time. Episode 12, The Ghost. Are you looking at my hat? My eyes are down here, buddy. Ghost is our introduction episode to Carrie Kruger, emo ghost girl who hates life even though she doesn't even have one. She's never felt what it's like to be alive, and she's so tired of just being empty that she actually wants to see what feeling something would be like. We found this out when she gets jealous of Gumball and Darwin eating a bussin'-ass sandwich at lunch.
That is just so insensitive. You know ghosts can't eat. Watching you two at lunchtime makes my afterlife a misery.
And Darwin suggests that she could use Gumball's body to experience the food. And this ends up being a terrible decision. That motherfucker tweaking. Without Gumball's full consent, she flies straight into his body and goes on an absolute binge through the town, making Gumball in this possessed state eat everything in his goddamn sight. Fast food, stealing food from a homeless guy, hot dog stand, and then at the end of the binge, Gumball wakes up in a pile of trash, and we see the most adorable form of Gumball I've ever seen, jiggly fat Gumball. And Gumball has to try and talk to his parents because he doesn't really know what to do, because he's not really feeling like he wants Carrie to use his body anymore, but every time he says no, he still ends up doing— I'm taking this hat off. And Nicole teaches him finally a valuable lesson in saying no. No consent, can't use your body, bro. So he tries his strategy, and Carrie takes his body forcefully this time, possessing him and then fighting him in his own body in an effort to eat more food. Till she finally realizes when she starts eating out of literal trash and drinking dumpster water. I have never been more surprised in my life to find out that one of my favorite characters in the show today started off really bad. I hate her in this one. I get it. I feel a little bit of sympathy. She's dead and all. She's been experiencing people eat stuff around her all her life. She feels it once and she's addicted to it. God, Gumball just having no say in how his body is used, and even when he says no, that whole scene playing out. And in the beginning where she was just like this random depressed girl, like, I've never not liked her more. Give it a little bit of a pass because of the first time that Carrie was ever used, and they were experimenting with the plot like this, and the weird possessed animations and the binges all look cool. Plus this gave us Fat Gumball. So I'm not gonna give it too harsh of a score, but still, god damn, I wasn't feeling this one. Episode 13, The Mystery. One day at Elmore, people come back to hear that their Principal Brown has been extremely injured, and no one knows what actually happened. So someone needs to come clean about who had done this to Principal Brown. But everybody was saying it wasn't them, so the class needs to figure out who done it, like a game of Danganronpa. Good stuff, good stuff. Them going down everyone's perspectives and slowly piecing together the true story of what happened was straight out of a detective anime. I feel like more could have been done with the topic, like them going to actually investigate the scenes instead of just them talking in a room, but they actually managed to just make this whole thing entertaining on its own. Episode 14, The Prank. This is one that really caught me by surprise, as in the beginning, I thought it was gonna be terrible. I really did think it was gonna be booty, but the ending totally saved it. Gumball, Richard, and Darwin have a prank war where the boys go a little bit too far after dodging too many of Richard's obvious and dumb pranks. So he has to go Hail Mary with it and do one ultimate prank to scare the hell out of them. And what I really like about this episode is that it does the misfortune comedy right. I just like episodes like The Laziest and The Ghost where someone just gets tortured and gets their life ruined just for no reason. It's the type of episode that they do later on better, but right now they're still getting the hang of it. And this episode, when Richard originally gets tortured, he brings it upon himself by trying to actually prank his kids in weird ways. And then after the boys take it too far, he actually ends up learning from his mistakes and getting his revenge. And I love that. I feel like this one tells an actual progressing story, unlike those others I didn't like. And also, this television is possibly one of my favorites in the entire show.
And that's it for tonight's news at 5. Here's Garvin with the weather.
I wonder what else is on TV.
How could you?
It's not what it looks like. Please, don't leave me.
No! Again!
And here, captured on film for the first time, we see the chicken crab.
A music video, a music video.
Yeah, we are in a music video.
This is what you call a music video.
Oh, baby, we're singing. I'm in a music video.
Run.
Number 15, The Gi, is another case of an episode starting off shaky but finishing great. The brothers end up discovering something that Nicole has been hiding away from them for a long time, and those are martial arts gis, which they put on these karate uniforms, and all of a sudden they feel like they can't take them off. They're practicing what they call karate all day and just turn into full-on fighting nerds. And Nicole is worried that if they go to school, they'll be bullied and they'll be stuck like this for the rest of their life, which she ends up pretty much right. They get bullied almost immediately. And once again, the ending really takes it home for me, as after Gumball completely embarrasses himself after not listening to his mom about not wearing the gi and really trying hard to do something he loves but failing miserably, Penny comes in to defend him, and she's just the best character for a few minutes.
Hey, leave him alone. If he wants to wear karate clothes, let him. At least he's brave enough to be himself. Besides, I think he looks cute. Kind of like a shark barrigator? Yeah, something like that.
I told you girls would dig it. Thanks for sticking up for me, Penny.
My pleasure, Gumball-san.
This episode, though, really started my internal debate on whether to really start criticizing the plotline. Because, you know, Gumball is one of those ridiculous, absurd shows, and it makes sense that not all of their episode plots make that much sense or align with reality. When it comes to logic in this episode, Nicole is worried about the boys becoming degenerate man-children because they like these geese. But aren't they both like 12 years old at this point? Shouldn't they just be able to enjoy their hobby while they're still young? Why would you just immediately assume that they would grow into these disgusting degenerates? At the end, though, I think Nicole realizes her mistakes and gives Richard back one of his childhood gifts that turned him into what Nicole feared the most. I think this one's fine overall. Number 16, The Kiss, where we're introduced to our overbearing oldie, Granny JoJo, as she comes over to stay at the Waterson's place. I just don't really like Granny JoJo, especially in these earlier episodes. She's a whole bore. Whenever she's on the screen, like, the episode just slows down to only old person jokes and depression. But most of this episode actually consists of gross out and cringe humor as Gumball tries to forget about Granny JoJo kissing him on the mouth accidentally. So he goes through this disgusting obstacle course to try and flush his memory of what happened to his mouth. And does it end up working? No, it doesn't. And while this episode kind of sucks, I mean, at least we got Demon tonight.
Ah! Yes! Grand Jojo! I did it!
You did what?
I carried your suitcase up to your room!
Oh, well, good for you, dear. Now bring it back down. My bus will be here any minute.
Number 17, the party. Tobias' sister Rachel is having a party for her high school friends, but all of the middle schoolers want to go to it because Tobias tells them all about it. She then denies them all and tells them that if they want to come into the party, they need to bring a date. But you know how it goes. Everyone back then in middle school was awkward as hell. They had no hoes. And since Gumball is way too much of a puss to ask out Penny directly and vice versa, they both end up going to the party with people that they don't even actually like.
Hi, Penny.
Yeah. Hi, Gumball.
So, I didn't realize you were coming with Hector.
I didn't realize you liked lizard breath.
I really think this episode was a good start of the Penny and Gumball episodes, setting up their relationship on a base level and how it could get built on and get better and better. But that's not all. At this party, everything's kind of going a little bit too lame until Principal Brown and Miss Simeon show up to the middle school kid party.
This party is busted! Busted wide open!
Busted.
But they do know how to party, and they get everyone turned. And after this destructive section, we see Rachel sitting on her porch sad, thinking, how is she gonna clean this up before her parents get home? That's until Darwin, Raglan, Caspian, Ahab, Poseidon, Icodemus, Watterson III tidies up the house and gets a kiss from a high schooler. Darwin, bro! Actual Chad move. And besides being a funny couple episode, there are also a bunch of quotes in here that I feel like are timeless. Will you be the jelly to my peanut butter sandwich? No. Number 18, the refund.
Look, Darwin, we waited more than 7 months for this.
I know! We waited so long, I had time to grow hair.
Huh? Whoa, may I touch it?
You may.
Nice.
So Gumball and Darwin bought a game, right? And they tried to slip and slide it right in their console, but they realized this is like a GameCube game and they have a PlayStation. So since they accidentally bought the wrong thing, they try to go back to the store they bought it from and get a refund, but the store's policy is that there's no refund. Gumball and Darwin are goddamn resilient. They do not give up. They'll try any strategy they can to somehow squeeze this refund out of Larry and his boss. Which Larry is currently being bent over by his boss right now, as there's a camera that's constantly watching him. And if Larry said anything out of line, his boss might come out, fire him, or even worse. And the attempts that Gumball and Darwin make to like somehow get this refund back is so funny to me. Like them pretending to be cops at the beginning, then them making this like little VHS video on the dangers of not refunding.
Every year, hundreds of children buy faulty computer games and don't get refunds. This is Jimmy. Jimmy's life is now very bad, and he lives in a shoebox.
Refund the world! Refund it sooner!
Uphold the rights that little Jimmy had as a consumer.
Poor Jimmy. I had no idea it was such a big problem.
When nothing else works, they end up going to their dad to finally come over to the store and settle this the manly way. As Richard transforms into the toughest rabbit on the block and goes to use the intimidation factor. But this doesn't really end up working, as when Richard reaches into the cash register to grab the refund himself, that's basically stealing. And Larry runs out the store because as soon as the alarm goes off, that means the manager's coming. And after he approaches the door, he swings it open and it's revealed to us that the manager is goddamn adorable. This little mob boss bear guy though packs a lot of punch, and he actually kind of disables Richard when he challenges him to a fight. But Gumball and Darwin blackmail him by taking the security tapes and threatening him that they're gonna upload them online, so he gives the three a free discount on a new console. And they finally get back home on it to play their game once and for all.
Dad, he sold us a shredder.
Until they realized they got scammed hard. My favorite parts was the little fight with the boss, him crawling across Richard's junk, and the little video Gumball and Darwin made about poor old Jimmy. Number 19, the robot. Another Gumball replacement episode, except this one's better. Kind of. Because this one's message is all about staying true to who you are and staying true to yourself, or else a giant nuclear robot will blow you up and everyone else you love in a 3-block radius. Bobbert, the robot boy, can't seem to make any friends because he's too robot-like, I guess. That's just racism. So Gumball tries to teach him how to act more lifelike, but unfortunately, Bobbert takes his advice too far when he literally tries to become Gumball. And then they have to have a fight to determine who is the real Gumball after all. If it wasn't for Darwin and this ending sequence, this episode would have been kind of weak, for me at least, because I think it's just Bobbert as a character, especially in the earlier seasons. He was just like kind of weak. I didn't really like his writing. I think his problem was like he was just pretty generic is all. And later on, he started to develop more of a personality with more episodes he was in. But right now, it was just at this point where I didn't really enjoy him being a major character and replacing Gumball. But the episode's okay, nothing terrible, not terrible. Number 20, The Picnic. I feel like the writers and animators really wanted to make a darker episode, so they just, you know, threw a little plot together real quick and boom, nightmare face. The boys are on a field trip where they are explicitly told multiple times not to walk through the Forest of Doom, which for some reason they're going on a field trip right next to. And Gumball and Darwin being Gumball and Darwin, they do end up wandering through this forest and encountering horrors along the way. Gumball in particular is pretty unlikable, acting more arrogant than usual, but the show's creativity really shows when they explore the forest and encounter deadly, weird creatures. Like, creepy imagery in Gumball will always stand out as being cool to me because this is just not a show you see as creepy. And when you see something that genuinely freaks you out, or the animators genuinely made to freak you out, it's cool. I think it's cool to see, along with the darker, more atmospheric tone this episode takes. And even when Darwin literally tries to eat Gumball but ends up eating his clothes, I really like that bit. The episode goes on a loop from where we started off, with the boys actually ending up finding the picnic and eating the trash after their little funny adventure. Episode 21 is The Goons. Noah Nice, right? Smart girl for sure, but she's a little bit too smart. The only other person that can compare to her level of intellect is Nicole, and Nicole is kind of boring. But she looks over at the boys putting their butts on the table and she's like, that looks fun as hell. Why can't I just be dumb like Dad and my bros? So she goes to Gumball and Darwin for them to teach her how to be as dumb as they are. It's through that she actually starts hanging out with them more and having more fun. Until one day Gumball wakes up and sees that, you know, she's hanging out with Darwin and Dad instead of him. He starts to feel a little bit betrayed by that. And because Gumball's feeling betrayed, he decides to have a dumb off with a bunch of other dumb people in town to see who is the dumbest out of them all. The episode really fulfills its premise, okay? It's dumb. It's supposed to be dumb, and you're not supposed to look that deep into it. There's not much I can even really say about it. Gumball and the Nice getting along is cute, I guess, and I really like the ending where they just get mushed.
Go home.
Ow! 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 Huh? Oh, the eyes! I blew it!
Other than that, I just wasn't really invested in what was going on. Weird thing I heard is that this is like one of the most viewed Gumball episodes ever. And it just makes me kind of sad that a lot of the most viewed things in this world, a lot of the most watched movies, or a lot of the most watched shows aren't even the best ones. Number 22, The Secret. The boys unfortunately get trapped in a bathroom and think that this dirty ass school bathroom is about to be their deathbed, where they'll starve to death, and they think the game is over because they're locked in here. Thinking that their time has come, Gumball tells Darwin a secret that he's been hiding from him for years.
Remember that time they found a creepy picture in your school book and you said you didn't do it? Well, that was me.
What? I had to go to counseling for that. I lost my whole summer.
I'm sorry, dude.
Mr. Small put me in an isolation tank.
Well, let's not dwell on the past.
But last second when Darwin was about to tell Gumball his secret, they're saved right before. Gumball wants to know what Darwin was gonna say, but since they're not gonna die anymore, Darwin doesn't feel the need to tell the secret. And it's just this huge battle of Gumball trying to like hypnotize and threaten his brother into telling him the secret. I'll agree though, someone keeping a secret from you and you knowing that they are, that is anxiety inducing. And here we see Darwin is willing to go the distance as well, to just lengths to keep this secret a secret. He's willing to burn instead of telling him this. So you know it's gotta be important. And it's so funny how far they're willing to go to try and keep this away from each other. I think it's really good. And if you're wondering what the secret was, Darwin secretly uploaded a video of Gumball doing this.
Check this out.
I love you, Darwin. Number 23, The Sock. Here we meet the school counselor, Mr. Small, and his laid-back, crystal-using attitude. He's someone who's very spiritual. He's the definition of a hippie teacher. And his assignment today is to teach the boys how to be more honest, which after a bunch of failed attempts leads to him pulling out a sock called the Silent Snake.
Silence!
which he uses on the boys to get them to shut up. The best strategy to get them to not cause any trouble is to get them to stop talking. I mean, that's pretty smart. But he stumbles and accidentally ends up getting stuck in his own file cabinet. How did he, what? He asks the boys for help, but his plan backfires as the boys are still scared to talk because of the silent snake. And they run around trying to find ways to free Mr. Small without actually talking to anyone about it. Getting introduced to Mr. Small this way and his weird rap song that he made about being honest.
Honesty. Break it down. Put the money in a bag.
It was alright for introducing a part of his character, not my favorite part of his character, which is the conspiracy theory believing spiritual part. That's just insane. That comes later, but right now we've got just Counselor Small getting folded into a cabinet, and yeah, I just don't really like this episode. Number 24, The Genius. Darwin gets yoinked away and taken to a government facility because he scored really high on some test, and now the government thinks he's a genius, but it actually turns out that the government got it wrong, and actually he wasn't the genius, but it was Anais who accidentally switched their tests. It's during this time away though that the family realizes how much they miss their little fish, Darwin, and how they'll literally go insane just to find a replacement. The obsession they have with Rocky as soon as he steps in the door to get him to dress and act like Darwin was so, like, cute but so creepy at the same time.
Are you sure there's nothing else to wear, Mrs. Watterson?
Please, honey. You can call us Mom and Dad.
To save his buddy, Gumball starts training up his brain to get stronger so he can hopefully prove that he's a genius as well, so he can go to that facility wherever Darwin is and save him out of it. This one was alright, and one of the most memorable ones from when I was little. I legitimately thought for a while that this is what the government did with smart people. And it's in the middle of the ep when Darwin's gone is when Rocky, the school janitor, comes in and becomes the family's new son just because he's orange and has no house. And I'm so glad that the government ends up taking Rocky in the end because I was happy. You know, he was actually useful for once when he came into the episode. It wasn't just some freeloader who tried to stick around the Watterson's house the whole time and refused to leave. Nah, it was Gumball's brain with the idea and he just went along with it. Rocky's a really likable character and he always has been. Number 25, The Poltergeist. Gumball really took their special Halloween episode and made it about Mr. Gaylord Robinson, and I like it. There's a mysterious noise coming from the Watterson's attic. After going to investigate one day, the boys see that it's actually Mr. Robinson that's been sitting there for days, not knowing where else to go. This is because Mr. Robin's going through a little bit of relationship issues and can't seem to get angry again. Him and his wife really thrived off of being angry at each other, so he needs to get his mojo back or else he'll get divorced. And after a little bit of help from the boys and a paranoid-ass Richard, he gets her back. This shows us Mrs. and Mr. Robinson's dynamic and relationship, and while it gets a lot more turbulent later on, I think this is a really good introduction to how they work and just how kind of strange they are, but we even get to see them get down and hot and dirty. Number 26, The Mustache. Kids are eating cereal right before school one day, but realized last second that it wasn't their normal cereal, but it was instead Richard's workout supplements, and they go through puberty quicker than my dad left. And all this testosterone that they ate started to build into their body at PE of all points, where they were scared of getting dominated by Tina again. Thanks to this bulk up, they're able to power up their swing and... Oh, poor girl. But it's over. They don't need to go to school anymore now that they're men. And we get to hear the man song.
We're gonna test drive a car. Say we need a little time to think about it because we're men.
Yeah, but they quickly realize that being an adult is actually kind of tough. Going through the struggle of trying to find a job with no skills, getting kids, and trying to live in a really cheap-ass apartment with barely any food, trying to make ends meet. Yeah, damn, this is depressing. But luckily, later on, Anais, looking like a furry Steve Harvey, comes and finds them and brings them back home to where the supplements are gonna start wearing off. The man song in this episode is definitely the goofiest and funniest part. Just a funny joke song about what being a man's all about. I give episodes a lot of points for being memorable, and I can't say that this episode's not memorable for putting images like this in my head for the rest of my life.
Look, for the third time, Mr. Watterson, rolling your stomach is not a valuable skill.
Episode 27, The Date, starts off with Gumball getting dressed for his quote-unquote date with Penny. And he checks in with his dad to find the best clothes out of the dumpster. And he goes up to Darwin to practice what going on a date would be like, fighting off potential date-ruining scenarios. But when he finally gets over to Penny's house, he realizes that he misunderstood her. It's not a date, but a funeral.
Today is the funeral. Oh, for Mr. Cuddles, my pet?
Oh, thank goodness. I thought it might be a real funeral.
For her pet tarantula. And I gotta say, this was one of the hardest episodes to rank for me. I'm really questioning if I should keep it this low. The reason being is that Gumball is in peak annoying Gumball form. Like, flat out, the most obnoxious he's ever been this season. Just insulting their dead pet right to their face and stomping on pictures of it, and it's just not fun to watch. And the awkwardness, this show does awkwardness way too well. Because some of these scenes are just so cringy and you just don't feel like watching them. I don't even feel good in the end when Gumball succeeds because I don't want him to. I only feel bad for Penny. While all of those factors are in this episode, I can't help but feel drawn to liking it a little bit more. It feels almost too relatable seeing Gumball be nervous to go on what he thinks is a date, be awkward around his crush's family, and he even redeems himself at the end completely on accident. That's probably why I like it a little bit more, or I'm just biased to Gumball and Penny, who knows. Still putting it low. Number 28, The Club. A pretty solid and fun one that's based around after-school clubs. And Gumball sees all of his family getting into these various clubs like synchronized swimming, anger management, science, but he realizes that he doesn't really fit into any of these groups and can't really join any of their clubs because he doesn't have the same skills they do. After getting upset, he's actually approached by a club that's full of a bunch of other people rejected from clubs. He then rejects the Reject Club, which they see as an absolute insult to their entire club premise. So they threaten Watterson to ruin his entire life by uploading his full real name and information to Elmore Plus.
Greetings, Gumball Watterson, from our secret lair. So, you think you're too good for us, eh? Well, you'll soon change your mind when we upload your embarrassing school record in a web video hosted by none other than you. My name is Gumball Watterson, and my IQ is smaller than my shoe size. I wore diapers up till the age of 11, and I once got detention for calling Miss Simeon Mom.
Exposing him for good. And then after getting this message, the Watterson family decides to team up and go into the mall to defeat this group of rejects. And I loved how the story was set up, you know, how the final battle of the entire episode was foreshadowed in the beginning by seeing which clubs the family members were in, and then having those members using the skills and what they learned in their clubs against their opponents. It's an okay premise that was executed very nice. Also, here we find out Gumball's real name is Christopher.
My name is Gumball Trisha Watterson. That's right, Trisha.
Oh, that's my reputation ruined until college.
No, it isn't. I counterhacked the main school server and rerouted the email before it got to anyone.
Yeah, and whose great idea was that?
What's wrong with it? It's short for Christopher.
Richard, I thought we agreed on Christopher.
Christopher. Same thing, right?
What? Huh? There is not a single person on Earth named Christopher. I'll check right now. Okay, so there are fewer than 1,683 people named Christopher in the United States. Based on my analytics, at least one of you is named Christopher. Change that damn name. Number 29, the wand. Richard is reminded of his childhood trauma when Gumball and Darwin play with the wand toy from their cereal box. He remembers back to a time where he cracked a wishbone, and the rumor with wishbones is after you eat the meat off a wishbone and crack it, you could make a wish and it would come true. His wish never came true, and he never stopped screaming about it since.
And I didn't stop screaming for 15 years.
Until the boys give him this wand and make him think that it can actually do magic. And he then goes on a spree running around making these crazy wishes, and what originally started off as a game, it turned into a chore for Gumball and Darwin to make sure that he doesn't get traumatized again by realizing that the magic is fake. So they go around and grant every wish he makes with the wand. Richard is just so selfish in this episode. Just going around doing dangerous wishes on people, making his kids almost kiss. But it all led up to a penultimate battle where they had to tell him that the magic wasn't real and let him know that there's still magic to experience in real life. But he still ends up screaming anyway when he finds out it's a fake. Although it was creative seeing Gumball and Darwin scramble around trying to get these wishes done every time. Number 30, the ape. Miss Simeon, the worst teacher imaginable, feels depressed because no one loves her. Let's go! Since she's never had friends before, she thought it would be a good idea to become friends with one of her 12-year-old students.
Yeah?
You and I are friends, right?
Bedtime!
touch, stranger danger.
But all this friendliness towards the Watterson family was a lie, a ruse. She was the impulse. It turns out she was only getting close to the Wattersons so they could write her a letter that would assure her to get the best teacher award from the teacher department. That's all she wanted from them, a physical trophy, and she calls Nicole a loser like she did in high school. They then have a chase scene to get that letter back, and this episode is funny as hell. Probably my favorite Miss Simian episode so far because she's just a good villain. You can understand her motives and like kind of why she's doing it, but it's all selfish and it's easy to hate her. And not to mention Nicole being more humanized, and we get some backstory on why her and Miss Simian really hate each other.
There it is, Richard! Get it!
Do what?
I'll get closer and you lean in and grab it!
Seriously?
There's something so good about Richard, of all people, having a moment of clarity in a situation like this. Episode 31, The Car. I like this episode a lot, as it points out one of my favorite things about the whole Watterson family, but I'll get to that in a second. This is the episode we see Gumball and Darwin's custom board game. Roll the dice, pick a card, and you have to do whatever that card says. After picking up his first card, Gumball builds a Rube Goldberg machine that ends up firing a bowling ball into—
Hey, the card says no hands.
Ugh.
I told you, Margaret, it's not a midlife crisis, it's just a new car.
Mrs. Robinson's bald-ass head. And after this, they feel so bad, they feel the need to make it up to Mr. Robinson, and he tasks them with cleaning his car, which in Gumball fashion, they mess up massively. And go to Hideaway quick, as they don't want to deal with Mr. Robinson's wrath when he sees his destroyed new car. But when they go to hide away in their attic, they find the rest of the family hiding. As they explain here how they were all a little bit guilty when it came to destroying the Robinson's car. And I gotta say how this perfectly encapsulates why I love this family. Other shows' main characters are similar, you know, you got the dumb one, you got the kind one, the smart one. Gumball's family has all these stereotypes, but they're all equally on the same level of insane. I think the Wattersons being outliers to the rest of society and extra poor and everything that sets them apart from everyone else by just being this weird middle-class family just makes for so many good bits and jokes, and them in this situation goes to show how connected they all are as a family when it comes to their craziness. And Mr. Robinson's kind of a douche, so I didn't really feel bad about watching his car get destroyed.
This is what happens when you mess with Gaylord. This is what happens. This is what happens. This is what happens.
Please stop. Please. Please, ma'am, drop the duster. Please. No, ma'am. No. No.
Number 32, The Curse. Gumball is cursed with bad luck, and absolutely nothing is going well for him. This is explained the night before, as he possibly used up all of his good luck in one fell swoop. So in an attempt to get his good luck back, he does all these good luck and bad luck based activities, and it all goes downhill when the universe has it in for him in his detention with Principal Brown. And all of the stored up bad luck from the day just hits him at once. Solid episode. I knew it when he escaped and he was in this janitor cart scene, just racing down the highway. It really got me laughing, and I just think the premise in general is kind of cool. Number 33, The Microwave. Gumball and Darwin are experimenting with the world of parenting, okay? Once Gumball decides to put together this disgusting concoction he calls a gross jar by picking up every single absolutely vile thing he can find and putting it in one jar, Richard accidentally slaps in the microwave and the boys watch it to see what happens when it literally creates life. And they call this little ball of garbage Kenneth. And Kenneth is so friendly and not deadly whatsoever. Kenneth runs through the entire family as he slowly devours each of them one by one, including the mailman, birds, anything he can really get his hands on. Gumball needs to smarten up and stop trying to pamper his son and actually take care of the situation and take him down. Honestly, bro, I'm with Darwin in the beginning.
Dad? Ah! What are we gonna do? I don't want to be a baby father!
Let's ditch it! Shh! Don't say stuff like that in front of him. I mean, come on, he's kind of cute. Hello, little guy. Don't you worry about a thing. Me and your father will take care of everything. Darwin! Where do you think you're going?
Buy some stuff?
Of course they made the African-American the absent father. But I really like this episode's creepy atmosphere that they had when Nicole specifically went into the backyard to go look for Richard and ends up meeting Kenneth. Even the ending where the whole government is called in to take him down because they didn't crush him when he was smaller. It's also referencing people who are bad parents are like, oh, My child could never do that. And then their same child goes on to like bomb a village. I don't know what I'm talking about. Number 34, the meddler. Gumball's feeling a little bit low on attention recently, as it seems like his family are treating him like he's invisible. So he asks Nicole to show him a little bit more attention around the house, in life, in general, and she does that. She makes sure that he will never feel lonely again. Never again. Anywhere. In any situation. Nicole follows Gumball to school, and we see the shenanigans as she bosses him around and embarrasses him while all of his friends are watching. But she seems to meddle a little bit too deep into his life when she starts to try to get Gumball to talk to his crush Penny. Inadvertently, because he's too nervous to actually ask Penny out, he ends up saying he doesn't like Penny, and Penny's hurt.
My baby has something to say to you.
No, I don't.
He'd like to take you out on a date.
That's not true.
He loves you.
Really?
No, I don't! I don't love Penny, and I never will!
Gumball? Well, thanks for being honest with me.
No, wait! I meant I'll never love Peanut! No, ponies!
And he tells Nicole to go F off, get out of my life. Once he does that, he realizes that he's not ready to be alone yet, and he needs his mom's help again, as Gumball had the idea to compete in a cheerleading competition with Penny so he can beat her and show her how much of a man he is by being better at cheerleading.
What exactly do you want me to do, honey?
Hello? Be there, of course? I need emotional support? You're my mom? Start acting like it?
Okay, let's go.
And after all the encouragement in the world, we get to see Gumball bust it down in front of everybody.
Well, it's a no from me, Mr. Small.
It's a no from me, too.
You two are bugging, bro. That was beautiful. Did you see that cartwheel, bro? God damn. I kind of struggled ranking this one because this episode falls in the category where I kind of like the story and I like what they were going for here. But just like Gumball turning into a whole brat by the end of the episode, I'm sure that was supposed to be like a joke and a funny, like how he's acting like a little bratty girl, even though just earlier he was desperate for attention. But at one point I just wanted to dribble and dunk on his dumb ass because he was just annoying. Well, you know, at least he was on character. Richard was just kind of an asshat for no reason.
What do I have to do to get noticed in this house?
What? Richard, I think Gumball needs some attention. Maybe you should go and play catch.
Yeah, we're all very proud of you, Nicole.
However, this is a big however, Gumball being a brat is probably the only bad part of this episode. The rest of it was cute, how Nicole was just trying to help, but it was getting to awkward situations, and Darwin trying not to hurt her feelings the whole time. Childhood is when you idolize Gumball, but growing up is realizing how bad Nicole had it. Episode 35, The Helmet. I like this one way more than I remember liking it originally. The power is greater than he first expected, and its high is too good. Richard, Nicole, and Gumball then later become obsessed with this helmet and feel like they need only episode 36, The Fight. Tina Rex is about to absolutely fold Gumball. Why? Because Tina, and she was just misunderstood and wanted to talk to him. It's your classic don't judge a book by its cover scenario that ends in one of my favorite Nicole moments of all time, where she goes to talk to Tina's dad and it ends with,
We built schools for the dolphins in the rainforest so they can cure baldness.
Anais?
Sorry, Gumball, the power's gone to my head. See you, Capitol Hill.
That just doesn't age well, does it? Okay, but that's gonna be it. This is my final list for season 1, and let's move swiftly on to season 2. Let's go, baby, into the second season, which is an incredible season of not only Gumball, but any TV show, because this is really when Gumball started to come into its own. Pacing, its art style, its music all get more and more solid as time goes on, and this was just the beginning. It all starts off with episode 1, The Remote. First episode of the season, and it's one of the hardest hitters for me personally. It's similar to episodes like The Helmet, which have almost the whole family fighting over an object, this time being a TV remote. The whole family has been waiting for days to watch different shows on the TV, but it ends up that they find out all of their shows are playing at the exact same time. And so basically, whoever gets the remote in time for the TV show is the winner. So the family goes around through hijinks and chasing each other down to find a remote that they can use for the TV. At first, it goes missing after Richard had it, and then Nicole went to go buy a new one as Anais put the idea in her head, until the boys and Richard try to take it from her in this parking lot battle that's just so So funny. Jokes are fire. The chase scene is fire. I love how it looks, just the colors and the darkness. And all of the clues we saw earlier leading up to the twist ending is one of my favorites in the show. Seeing the last one of the family that you didn't expect weave this entire plan to the point where everyone else takes the L and she's the last one standing as we zoom in to her face to end off the episode.
I feel so proud of her, yet really scared at the same time.
S tier. I remember showing this to my cousin actually. I got him on the Gumball wave. Number 2, the Colossus. We get a little bit of an inside view of the life of Hector the Giant and his mom. Now there's a problem, okay? Hector is a boring ass dude because his mom doesn't let him do anything fun or exciting.
He's got comics! You've got issue 1 of Captain Punch? That's a collector's item! This comic's so extreme my mom wouldn't even let my dad read it.
No matter how much it rains, this city always smells lovely. What's this? Looks like 3 ski enthusiasts have just withdrawn their hard-earned wages from the bank. Better get down there safely.
What a pleasant surprise. It's Captain Punch.
Hey! Hey! Hey!
Take this. Nice bunch of flowers. Hey, is there something on my shoe?
Just some bubble gum. Let me wash it off for you.
I'm gonna take you guys down to a nice restaurant for a Swiss fondue. My treat.
Dude, who drew all over your comic?
Well, that's how it was when my mom gave it to me.
After finding this out, Gumball and Darwin get Hector to stand up for himself and become independent from his mom. They encourage him to go out and motivate him to better himself and do him. But, he's destroying the town. He's killing hundreds of people. Oh, no. Hector goes on an absolute rampage after being angry at his mom, and the boys with his mother have to go and track him down and calm him. Midway through this episode, Darwin actually gives a pretty good message on how before you judge other people's lives, you should probably take a good look at your own.
What with the smug face? Nothing, but I think there might be a lesson in all this. You know, next time you want to judge other people's life choices, maybe you should take a long, hard look at your own. Well, maybe you should take a long, hard look at that duck. Duck?
I feel like taking that message and combining that with this Attack on Titan looking fight scene is just so fire. Aaron! Shut up, Armin. You're not in this video. Episode 3, The Knights. Gumball and Penny want to work on a medieval school project together, but Penny's dad won't let them. It's forbidden love.
I want to study with your daughter. I know you don't think that I oughta. I'm not that bad, I'm pretty friendly. I think that you should be...
This all started when Penny's dad went to go meet Gumball's family, and he realized that the Wattersons are insane. But Gumball keeps on trying to befriend her dad and convince him that he's a good person in any way he can. Also, Tobias is here. You see, one of Tobias's main character traits is that he's a ladies' man. He's a rich little pretty boy that wants nothing but the girls, and he's a little bit of a womanizer. He sets his sight on a new girl every episode, and this time it's Penny. Tobias has a crush on Penny and wants her to be his partner for the medieval school project, so he tries to win her over by defeating Gumball in a medieval duel. Once the duel starts though, it doesn't really go well because Gumball starts to get folded until the last second where he literally saves Penny from almost getting hit by her dad's car. And then all is well and Mr. Fitzgerald gets yelled at.
Nicole, get out here! This clown nearly ran over our kid! What?
The ending is my favorite part about this episode, but I couldn't really get past the awkwardness of this one. The way Tobias acts sometimes as the villain, I don't really like. I mean, he's not even really a good villain. He's just kind of a douche for the simple purpose of being a douche. But other than that, it's a Gumball and Penny episode, so I can't complain, right? Tobias kind of brought it down. Number 4, the fridge. The Wattersons get even more dysfunctional when a chart is introduced by Nicole that ranks how good their achievements are. She ranks her family's abilities and failing them if they're not good enough, and you know, it's kind of like a tier list, but abusive. There's a lot of discourse to see who can come out on top as the top dog in the family and get the main star. Even Gumball, who just wants to relax, but Nicole keeps on pushing him to be a winner, and she gets a little bit intense.
What does a winner do when life gives him lemons?
Make lemonade?
No.
He squeezes them right back into life's eyes!
Really? Alright.
Until the family just all want to settle this, and we have a huge family paintball fight to determine who will really come out on top. And then war starts. Traps, death, betrayal, all happens in these shady woods as Gumball discovers multiple of his family members being ended. And at the end, after witnessing his family fail, Gumball's plot armor saves him from a sneak attack. It's actually really fun to see this more wild side of Nicole's character. You know, whenever she goes full psycho, I love it, man. Well, most of the time. Yeah, the fridge though. Don't rank your kids based on achievements, because that's called bad parenting.
Dodgeball! Boom, 1 point. Boom, 2 points. Boom, 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 boom.
Number 5, the flower. Gumball's watching from afar as the cheerleaders are doing their set, and in his mind it's a beautiful day, and they just completed a wild flip. But in reality...
Dude, what are you doing?
What's the problem? Can't the guy celebrate when his cheerleader girlfriend lands an amazing flip on a beautiful sunny day?
First of all, this isn't a sunny day. Secondly, that move went wrong, and you cheered. And finally, she's not your girlfriend. I'm sorry, dude. I didn't mean to offend you. I'm not saying it won't happen, but right now, you've got some competition.
Come on now, let's get you back inside.
Who? Leslie? Nah, they're just friends.
Oh, Leslie, what would I do without you?
That's how it starts. Soon he'll be your boyfriend and you'll be his.
And it's at this point where Gumball's jealousy starts to form, as he starts to think that Leslie, the cute little flower boy, is encroaching on him and Penny's relationship that doesn't exist yet.
It smells kind of parasocial to me.
But this jealousy that he has for Leslie starts to manifest into something that's not just a feeling, but an actual physical being that's taking control of his body, causing him to try to assassinate and kill Leslie in multiple ways. And once everyone realizes that Gumball has a major problem, Carrie comes in, thank God, and helps the gang exorcise the jealousy out of Gumball.
Jealousy be gone! Jealousy be gone! Jealousy be gone! Jealousy be gone! What is that?
It's jealousy, in its purest form.
Gumball, are you alright? No,
No, I don't really know how to phrase this, but let's just say I really like jealousy as a concept. In a lot of TV shows, whether it's romantic, comedic, whatever, I feel like jealousy is such a good avenue for so many wild and devious moments in shows. And in Gumball especially, when someone's jealous of someone else, it's kind of cute as well as a little terrifying.
I think that was a good lesson for you. Jealousy's a pretty ugly thing, Gumball.
Yep, I get it.
That's okay. You made it, man.
Get your hands off him, you undead, ectoplasmic, transparent, paranormal, spooky, floating, fringe-flicking freak!
Wow.
Also, this is one of the first episodes where we see Carrie again after her season 1 introduction, and she's gotten a lot better. And I'll be honest, so is Leslie as well. It feels really good to see an episode where these two characters interact with other characters and they're all likable in their own ways. It just makes you want to see these characters interact more in the future. Likable all around. Watch this! Episode 6, The Banana. The thing is about this episode is that in the first 10 seconds, we see Gumball doing something so dumb that it'll just make you cringe, starting the whole episode's conflict for no reason. You see this a lot, but usually the situation that Gumball starts, it's not always as, I guess, obvious and aggravating as this. Gumball, right after chewing a pen, putting it down, and picking up a chewed pen that's Darwin's, he thinks that Banana Joe was the one chewing on Darwin's pen. And Gumball gets really mad at Joe for doing this, so he does something to mess him up. And because Gumball kind of went too far with trying to sabotage Joe, he accidentally messes up Darwin's homework in the process. And of course, Darwin thinks Banana Joe did this on purpose. So the two go to his locker in a pure blind rage to mess up more of his stuff, until they realize that,
Come on, you googly-eyed punk! Alright, we got 1 minute! Let's finish this!
Jeez Louise! The pen! Give him the new pen!
I didn't chew your pen, honestly, but I bought you a new one.
Maybe it wasn't on purpose, and Banana Joe's about to find out what they did. In this little montage scene, we see him walking towards the locker that Gumball and Darwin destroyed, and we see everything around them build up to the moment that Joe discovers his expensive pen chewed beyond belief. Which then after that, Banana Joe's ready to scrap, throw hands, run fades. The only good thing to come out of this one was Banana Joe's remade character. They changed up his face and design, and now he has an actual personality instead of just being the goofy side character with 3 lines. The shift in character from somewhat of a school bully to more of a school class clown, I feel like is a really good shift and makes his character way more likable and have him stand out more, as we already have so many bullies, he'd probably just get crowded in with the rest of the mean kids. I feel the dumbness, it really felt kind of forced. A lot of the moments seem very out of character for both of the main boys, like Darwin being mad and Gumball seeking revenge so hard after just a pen. Episode 7, the phone. The brothers get a new phone and quickly become obsessed with it, like every single teenager. Eventually they feel lonely though and want to get some real friends to get their phone number and call them. As they go around asking for numbers, this is where we get introduced to Ocho.
Here's our number: 011 00 000 1101 111 111 011 011 110 110 000.
That spells poop in binary code.
What are you doing? Not Ocho.
What? Why not me?
'Cause you're nuts. What was that? Nothing. It's just that occasionally you can get a little intense.
Oh yeah? Is this intense? Is this intense? Is this intense?
No, that's a perfectly normal level of intensity.
An 8-bit spider with anger issues. You realize these anger issues after an accidental text to him gets Gumball and Darwin in some fat trouble. And once he comes to their house to have a fight, they have to battle him like they're in a game of Space Invaders at the beginning of the episode. And while Ocho was fine and never really fleshed out in the earlier seasons, I really like this episode. As a gamer, as a gaming boy, yeah, I'm a gamer. I remember really enjoying this Space Invaders fight that they had in the end, and it gave me the same vibe as that Adventure Time episode where they were in a video game. I love that, man. And with all the sound effects and pixel animations looking so good, even though this episode started with Gumball and Darwin becoming addicted to their phones, started to look like some lame social commentary a little bit. This generation of teens always on their cellular devices. Number 8, The Job. Richard's the laziest rabbit on earth, but you know, he also wants to be a good dad. So he gets a job as a pizza delivery guy. Nicole doesn't really feel right about this. I can understand why. I mean, when your husband has just been laying on the couch all of his life and doing nothing but just relaxing, it'll be weird when he tries to put on the pants of the family and tries to get an actual career. But she seems to be freaking out a little bit too hard about this, and the kids ask, what's the worst that can happen?
Maybe I should just try to forget about this.
Reports of strange occurrences all around Elmore.
At Food and Stuff, it's been nighttime all day.
It's supposed to be noon.
Meanwhile, residents were confused by unseasonal snow.
It's supposed to be June.
And one senior citizen seems to have inverted gravity.
I'm supposed to be on the ground.
See? I told you! This is all because of your father!
Don't you understand? You need to fire him!
But he's doing okay!
What if he delivers a pizza late?
Well, yeah, I guess I could fire him for that.
Then he's not gonna deliver this one.
Mild or spicy, my flavors will exhilarate. To get him double quickly when I'm twisting the accelerator. Twisting the accelerator. Twisting the accelerator.
The universe starts breaking as Richard revs his engine on his little paddy wagon, and quickly the family realizes that he needs to be fired so the universe can go back to normal. And in an effort to get him fired, the family tries to chase him down and make him late to his delivery. And what plays out next is one of the coolest destruction scenes in cartoon history, and only one of the best in Gumball's history. I couldn't help but just sit in my chair unblinking in awe as I watched this play out. I love everything about like the objects glitching, everything in the world floating around like it's a music video, and objects turning real, the characters changing. There's like 5 art style changes in this one episode. They went for it, and you can tell in the writing, the music, and the animation, it's a fun, simple idea executed above expectations, and you can't help but love it. Number 9, Halloween. The first ever Gumball episode that doesn't have "the" in the title. Now, if you couldn't guess already, this episode's topic is about Hanukkah. Gumball, Darwin, and Anais go trick-or-treating on Halloween until they come to a house that Gumball and Carrie found that's throwing this massive ghost party. But since they're not ghosts, Gumball and Darwin aren't exactly welcomed into this place, as until they drink a suspicious substance that was given to them by Carrie that separates their soul from their body, and
What are you doing? Give me that! Stop it! Give me that! Are you insane? Look what you've done! You've completely turned into ghosts! Which means I can finally do this!
damn, Darwin, that's 2 kisses now. This man's Chat, sometimes you'll have these episodes in Gumball that are based around one single topic, so the writers can just dump all the jokes they have about that into this one place. And this was just ghost jokes all over the place. But the boys realize that they need to escape the house and get back to their bodies, as if they're not back in their bodies by midnight, they might never go back to normal again. You know, I already like Gumball with a creepy atmosphere, but throw a wild-ass ghost party on top of that and Carrie, bro, that's a recipe for a banger. Episode 10's The Treasure, which is a wholesome look into the past of the Watterson family and why they're so dirt cheap. And it was all because Richard, back when Gumball was born, bought into an internet scam that lost them tons of money. The kids then all go through searching through files in the attic and following clues, going down a list, the rabbit hole that will hopefully eventually lead them to figuring out what he bought. It's here that the kids find a place on the check for a place called the Stellar Corporation, and they need to figure out what that is. So they go to follow the clues to lead to a location to dig up some sort of secret until they realize that they're being followed. And they need to go quick. They need to run through these fields and get to the place that they need to go to figure out the secret before whoever's chasing them catches up to them. And we see the nature and setting shift as the chase shifts from a cornfield to a forest. And I just love the amount of effort they put into setting the scene here and making the mood so dark and ominous and doomy with the intense music and the slight lighting of the moon shining down on the water and the trees. I'm a nerd for stuff like that. As they race, they finally get to the location and they find out the person that's been chasing them is none other than one fat rabbit. Richard didn't want them finding out because that is embarrassing. He lost them all of their money early on in their life, and it's all his fault. Thanks to all the clues leading up, Anais is actually able to figure out that what Richard bought was
a star.
Bow, right there. That is the Watterson star. And the fact that it's still shining today, and the fact that it can be seen, even though that star is probably long dead from now, just goes to show how strong the Wattersons' love for each other are, and they sit underneath the night sky as they gaze at it shine from millions and millions of miles away. Nah, it's good. I'll just draw a new one. There we go. But this episode, while not being that funny, it is very heartwarming, I'd say. It's really personal, and one of the first, like, more personal episodes of Gumball that I've seen that actually dives deep into the Wattersons' past. This is something new that they've never done before, and it's because of that that this episode isn't incredible, but it's good.
Use a secret weapon.
Okay, you asked for it.
Clever.
Number 11, the apology. For once in his entire life, Gumball is finally owed an apology from Miss Simeon, of all people. At the beginning, we see it's normal. We see Miss Simeon teaching the class, but something's off. And everyone seems to have the same idea. Miss Simeon's bare, naked, red monkey butt was out in front of the entire class, and no one said anything. Except for Gumball when he tried to throw a paper airplane to tell her. Once Miss Simeon finds out that he didn't just throw that paper airplane to be a douche, she owes him an apology, as he was the only one to try and tell her of her embarrassing mistake. But her pride gets in the way, and she decides not to. After this incident, things get pretty weird with Miss Simeon and the brothers as she tries to get them in trouble so she doesn't have to apologize to them.
Have you noticed that Miss Simeon's been acting a little off lately?
Now that you mention it, she has been keeping a particularly close eye on us.
And once Gumball and Darwin realize, they decide that they're going to get themselves in trouble so Miss Simeon can stop stressing about trying to get them in trouble. It's weird when Miss Simeon and the brothers' relationship gets oddly wholesome, as they're always at each other's throats, it seems like, but this is a really good one in the show. I mean, Miss Simeon, while being a really good villain, when she could come around and, you know, connect with the main characters, it's nice, it's cute. And also, I'm going to rank this episode high because it reminds me of something about Gumball that I really like, which is how it can take a simple joke, a joke that literally every kid show would do, but they can still pull it off, making it more creative and funny than any other. Like this ass joke that sets up the entire episode shouldn't be as funny as it is, but Sarah melting, Tobias's eyes lighting on fire, Penny with her book, it just, I love it. Number 12, the words. 2 memorable songs, 2 great bits of animation, and 2 characters I don't like, Sussy and Terry, getting destroyed here.
What does it matter to you? You do know that there are more germs on an average door handle than there are on a toilet seat. Well, if that's the case, why don't we all open doors with our butts? Darwin is being recklessly unhygienic, and it's giving me ulcers. See? Oh my gosh, your hand! It's covered in germs! Look! There. Hey, chin back. How about you learn to breathe through your nostrils? Oh, I'm sorry. You don't have any nostrils.
Darwin realizes that he's being way too nice to everyone around him and wants to stop being a doormat, so Gumball teaches him to be more direct and honest about how he feels. Kind of like, you know, the Sock episode from season 1. Only in this one, Darwin becomes a massive jerk who can't even enjoy life without criticizing every little piece of it. Like, imagine just sitting there criticizing something great when you could just relax and enjoy it. Wait. But actually, you can see Darwin fall deeper and deeper into being wrong throughout the entire episode, as there are 2 songs here to represent that. Like how in the beginning he was singing this upbeat song about telling people the honest truth in a happy sort of way. And it goes so hard, Darwin's just flexing the pipes as he brings people's lives down.
She's half cow, half troglodyte. She's half cow, half troglodyte. Show your jokes are lame and lazy, and you sing just like a dog with rabies.
And then later on, after people try to silence him and him getting angrier and angrier, he stops caring and drops the whole nice guy act.
Dude.
No more, Mr. Nice Guy, I found a new style. With claws and pointed teeth and a venomous smile.
Darwin used to just want to be honest with people because that would make them happy. And now he's turned into a full-on hater. But then to take him down, Gumball challenges him to a fight scene that's animated like a fighting game where they throw roast at each other. Their attacks are literal insults. It's a full-on roast battle animated like a video game.
Think first! Big head! Big head! Big head! Stop it! Big head! That's cheating! Big head! I got nothing!
You're so chubby, the back of your head looks like a pack of wieners.
It's up!
Wait a minute, pause. Darwin, I think this has gone far enough. Surely you understand what I'm trying to say to you. What are you doing? Hey, you unpaused! That's cheating!
Big head! Big head! Big head!
Okay, I didn't want to do this, but you leave me no choice. You are not my brother.
You are just a pet! Who grew legs?
And this fight at the end and the songs actually sounding good is what blasted this episode so high for me. Episode 13, The Skull. We get introduced to Clayton this time around, and he's a little bit of a lying hack. A little Clayboy that can turn himself into whatever or whoever he wants, but to make himself seem more impressive than he actually is, he tells a bunch of fake stories and lies and tries to intrude on Gumball and Darwin's friendship. And he has a little scuffle with Gumball and Darwin that ends up making a mess and destroying the locker room. But Clayton makes up another lie and says that there's this big skull-headed kid that destroyed the locker room, and that wasn't them. Anyone should be able to figure out that this is a lie, but these guys get a little bit in over their head when they realize that the giant scary kid that Clayton described is actually real and gets suspended for his lying. And once this big-headed freak finds out, there's a fight. A huge fight. Where to escape this giant man, Clayton uses his transformation powers with Gumball and Darwin to lead them to get a better advantage on their opponent. And finally, at the penultimate point where they actually almost defeat him, the fight results in being absolutely nothing happening because it's revealed that the whole episode was actually a made-up story by Clayton. Clayton as a character is pretty okay in my opinion, but he wasn't really a major character at all. He was more of just someone who'd showed up once in a while and you wouldn't really notice. I do like his clay animation and I feel like it could be used for such cool things, but I don't think they do much of that. This is the only episode where they make use of how crazy his transformation abilities can get in that fight sequence. And that's why I rank this one higher than most other Clayton episodes. Number 14, The Bet. Gumball and Darwin release a monster to terrorize citizens. Again. And this time, it's Bobbert that goes on a rampage. Again. This episode starts with Vor. Can't show that. No. It's just the boys that started playing this game where the loser or person who fails to do the dare that the other person gives has to become the main person who gave the dare's personal slave for 24 hours. Bobbert, wanting to have some quote-unquote fun and join in on this game, joins in and loses to Gumball, becoming his personal robot slave. And after this point, he just treats Bobbert like trash, making him do menial tasks like fetching like a dog with no legs. But the rest, y'all know how it goes. Gumball's a douche. Darwin says, hey, maybe you shouldn't be a douche. Gumball's like, fine. And then something goes very wrong. When Gumball tries to disable Bobbert's slave mode, he accidentally sets him on himself and has to get away before he gets destroyed.
Command.
Bobbert, terminate Gumball. Oh yeah, delete that from your memory.
Command denied.
Bobbert, you don't take orders from anyone now, alright?
Commence termination.
Pretty similar to other episodes in the past and still pretty enjoyable though. Not too many moments that I can point out and really say that they stood out to me. Maybe the chase scene, because I liked how weird it got, but it just felt like a quick little episode with a few jokes, and them experimenting with Bobbert's destruction a little bit more. Number 15, Christmas. On a holly jolly Christmas Eve, we see everyone in Elmore getting festive and ready for the holidays until the Watersons accidentally run over a hairy homeless man on Christmas Eve. They take him to the hospital, and to be hospitable, they let him come and stay at their house, to where Nicole is extremely paranoid, which I totally get because they just let this random homeless guy into their house, but damn, lighten up a little, you did just run him over. The kids, thanks to his big white beard and fat demeanor, believe that this it's him, it's our boy Claus. But Nicole doesn't have the same belief and forces him out of her house.
Nicole has been sending letters to Santa all of her life, and not once ever did she get a reply back. Or hell, even the gift she really wanted. And so she sees this as the final moment to let the kids know that Santa isn't real. And then once they find this out, all their Christmas cheer disappears. Not just theirs, the entire town's as well. Everything goes bleak. As until Richard randomly finds a reindeer on top of his house and eventually finds Santa's sleigh. And he hops in not knowing what it will do until it blasts off. And after seeing his sled again and being reminded of who he is, Santa turns back into actual Santa! He was Santa the whole time! And after everyone in Elmore thought Christmas was over, Christmas was ended, but thankfully to the family, they actually managed to get Santa back to his sleigh and save Christmas for everyone. The thing is about Christmas episodes for me is that you can tell that they're all, in every cartoon, very, very similar. It's all, oh no, Santa! We gotta save Christmas! But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's cool to see different cartoons have different takes on this sort of plotline, and I really like seeing different characters and how they interact with this holiday. But in the grand scheme of all of it, the most enjoyable moment was when Santa met back up with Nicole and helped restore her Christmas cheer after years of not replying to her Christmas mail. It was very cute. Number 16, the watch. Alright, so there's this watch, right? This old watch that is a Watterson family heirloom that Darwin accidentally gives away to the old red guy, Marvin Finkelheimer. We got a little bit goofy and wacky and gave away your grandfather's ashes. Sorry, Dad. Which he didn't really care too much, and the whole family thought that giving away the watch was completely fine until they see on the TV.
It's a very special piece. Only 2 were ever made, and I'd say it's worth approximately $700.
700 big ones, so the boys dip out and try to get it back, and they have to go down an intense chase scene to get the watch back that's going about like a mile per hour, but eventually start catching up to him until they realize that it isn't worth dying for, and they jump off their bikes until...
Get out of the way! It's gonna explode!
Hey, that's great! Now we can sell the watch and split the money.
Now, I haven't talked about him a lot, but Marvin here, the old man characters, and most of the other characters, I really like his change in character, because early on, when they didn't know what to do with him, he was just kind of an old dude, but he evolved from that point, from being an old man to now being a scheming old man who just wants money and hope. Number 17, the Bumpkin. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bumpkin. Idaho is a fun little character who is a literal potato that is a small country boy. And what would happen if you took a fully organic country boy and put him into a disgusting, unhealthy city suburban lifestyle? At first, Gumball thinks it would be a good idea to invite Idaho over and experience his sort of lifestyle, just going out in the field and relaxing and leaving all of your body to nature. And after a long day outside, the family all falls asleep on the grass outside. But at the middle of the night, Idaho ends up waking up and hearing something inside the house. And as he does, he walks back over to see Gumball falling right back into the hole of video games and junk food all over again. And he couldn't end up quitting it. But...
I know what this looks like, but before you tell me how wrong it is...
Once Idaho comes in, he asks him to try it, which he gives him soda, candy, and French fry. He just fed Idaho his own kind. Bro, that kind of fucked. And when they wake up in the morning, they realize that the overstimulation was too much for Idaho to handle in one night, and he goes into a literal coma. They then gotta race him back to his family to see if they can heal him. Gumball opening a whole new world of junk and degeneracy to this kid who's never experienced it before. Kind of messed up, but also really, really entertaining. It brings back memories of those nights where you just didn't care. And as a kid, you could just literally eat whatever you want without, you know, dying. Number 18, the flaker. Flaker, noun. Someone who dips out on something last minute. That's the real, actual Webster dictionary, you know? I looked it up before this. My dad is Webster, actually. And Darwin ends up being one of these flakers when in a situation where Gumball was being chased down by Tina for something he said in their class, Darwin flaked out. He dipped out when Gumball expected him to help him get out of the situation. And then it comes to this moral dilemma of who's the one in the right. Gumball, who roasted Tina by saying something that made sense, or Darwin, who thinks that Gumball shouldn't have said that and ditched him when he needed him most. Now, even though I believe Darwin a lot here, there's a #1 rule where you just never ever ditch the homie. I gotta dock some homie points off of Darwin for this one. However, the boys arguing starts to get a little bit bad as they're come to situations where, like on the attic stairs, Darwin was literally stacking things for Gumball to hold, and eventually they both start falling down the stairs, almost breaking everything and hurting themselves. So thanks to Anais, the boys get to work together and get back together again after she causes some issues with these cupcakes. After all this problem solving, they finally realize that they might have missed something.
Yes? Hello, sweetie. I just wanted to know if your dad felt any better.
Yeah, he's fine.
Their dad. Richard is incredibly high after going to the dentist and getting his wisdom teeth removed. So the anesthetics are causing him to go around the world all loopy and playing around with beautiful talking food and rainbows and colors when in reality he's just wreaking havoc amongst thousands. And before Nicole gets home, the boys and Anais all need to work together to return him back to the house. And also, while they're trying to get him back to the house, Richard turns into A-Train for a minute. Everything they did to make the house look normal again and distract Nicole and just coming together as siblings was a really cool trio moment from Anais, Gumball, and Darwin. Whenever they just get to have a section where they just play around and laugh, I always notice those sections of episodes as being really nice and wholesome. I think it was just like the beginning section that I didn't exactly like too much because like the reason that they're both so mad at each other is really petty. That's the whole point of it, but it was kind of annoying to sit through. But I'm pretty sure the annoyingness and their anger was played up to make the conclusion that much more satisfying once Anais solves their issue and uploads them doing this to the internet. Yo, yeah, you, I see you. Got me on a TV in the background, different tab, phone line on your toilet right now, checking in to make sure you're enjoying the video is all. But I just wanted to make sure you know. I know. All right, you can put me back. Number 19, the authority. Right here, we get a good look at Richard's past and why he is the way he is. And what I mean when I say that is why he's so dumb. It's because his mom, or as we know her as Granny JoJo, never had any expectations for Richard. She just let him be lazy and wallow on the couch doing nothing. She sheltered Richard his entire life, and it was especially difficult without a dad to really raise Richard into being a bigger man. Which after an accident that Nicole had with her kids, Granny JoJo takes charge and she tries to turn the whole family into Richard, raising them the exact same way, spoiling them, giving them whatever they want until it gets to a point where they're all out on their own and they have to solve this situation themselves, which Nicole encourages them to do. I do not like Granny JoJo, but I do like Nicole. And their arguing and bickering all the time can get a little bit annoying, but I did like the ending message of trying to figure it out yourself and trying to push to be a better person than just being comfortable. Number 20, the virus. Here we see the boys and Terry, having her first major role, battle a deadly virus that's taken over Gumball's body as he hasn't washed his hands in months. I know it's because Penny touched it, but how do you not wash your hands, bro? This virus then comes to life, gains sentience, and tries to fight against the duo and Terry to redeem his fallen virus brethren. I think the battle is cool, and the idea of a virus coming to life is a cool concept, and I think this is the best we've seen of Terry so far. Her whole personality is that she's a cleaning freak and likes to say tip-top shape and hates dirt and mess. An absolute germaphobe and a little bit annoying, but she's not irredeemably bad, you know? It's not like she ruins any episode she's in. Her and the boys' dynamic is more of like a little sister type. She reminds me of Anais with how sort of smart and clever she is, but instead of clever quips about the boys being dumb, it's more so about her virtue signaling about staying clean. Number 2, Wanda Pony. Anais wants to spend some quality time with her brothers, so she has them go down to the store to pick up a pony movie. But trying to rent out this goddamn sissy garbage, the universe is pretty quirky in the show. Keeps on trying to drive them away from actually getting back home on time and watching this film with their sister. They even had to get Carrie to sandwich the movie in between 2 horror movies to even get it out the store. And on the race back home to get there on time, the universe keeps on distracting them to get them later and later and later. I think this episode's good. It was just a little brought down a little bit by, you know, Sussy being here. Later on, we actually realized that the movie that Carrie rented was accidentally switched with Gumball and Darwin. So they get their DVD back and try to get home. These race against time type episodes are pretty prevalent, but all these chase and running scenes all still end up being very creative in their own way.
If you're in such a hurry, then why have we been doing this for an hour?
Because it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Number 22, The Hero. Gumball, why do you suck? Why do you suck so much? In this episode, Gumball and Darwin make fun of their dad for being a fat, stupid disappointment. LMAO. At least that's what everyone in school says, and Gumball starts to agree and joking around at his dad's expense. But what he didn't know is that Richard actually overheard him laughing and talking smack about him, so he went back home to tear up. After smack talking their dad, Anais and Nicole are very mad at Gumball and Darwin to the point where they won't even feed them anymore. Not until they apologize, which Gumball being reluctant, he just decides, you know what, I'm gonna live on my own. Which then they go out and try to scavenge for food, but only end up getting stuff that's all rotten and spoiled and a literal live rat. That's until they go to check on their dad to see how he's doing, and once Gumball leaves, Darwin stays. That's when we hear the reason why Richard is so sad about this situation.
I remember when you were still little, my little ones. I was the giant who picked you up when you fell down.
With the little songs talking about how he wants nothing more but to be their hero. Richard's only goal in life is to keep his kids happy and not disappoint them. So to make him feel like a hero again, Darwin puts him and Gumball in a deadly situation to maybe, you know, try and make him feel like a hero if he can save them both. And I know the point is that Gumball is supposed to suck here. Gumball is really mad and really agitated, like he got dragged here in this deathly situation. But once again, his arrogance is just played up for the episode where he's just making these quips at his dad while he's just trying to save them.
Oh, I don't know. How about you get us down using that ladder right there? Wow, really thought that one through, didn't ya?
But this ladder actually ends up coming in handy later when Gumball is on the edge of being crushed and he has to walk to Richard like he did when he was a kid. He had to believe in him, he had to trust in him, and he had to walk all the way until safety. It's such a cute moment and a good little bow to wrap off an episode to teach you how like people are trying their best and you should respect that there's boundaries that shouldn't be crossed. And also don't be a little fucking asshole all the time. Gumball, damn. Besides wanting to sock Gumball in the mouth half the episode, I really enjoyed the cute aspects of it and that song where they were reminiscing about their childhood, and it shows how much Richard really cares for his kids. Episode 23, The Dream. Gumball cannot mentally deal with the fact that in a dream he had, Darwin ends up kissing Penny.
Oh, Gumball, you're dreaming. Wake up! What are you doing?
Trying to throttle you like you don't have a neck!
He then wakes up and spends that whole morning angry and mad at Darwin and trying to make him apologize for this random nightmare he had. And even though he didn't actually do it in real life, Gumball is really angry and can't seem to shake off this anger. Darwin has the idea that, hey, maybe if we go into your dreams together, maybe Gumball will stop being irrationally angry at Darwin. The dream sequences are my favorite part, and I like the way that they progress the story along. They look really nice. They can do some wild experiments with dreams in this show, because with how wild the world already is, imagine how wild dreams can get. But this one didn't really have anything to stand on. I mean, most of it was kind of just Gumball being angry for no reason. The irrational anger of Gumball didn't really get bad until he dragged Penny into it by forcing her to eat a blueberry cupcake instead of this orange cupcake. But Penny is allergic, so he kind of just put her into like a shock, and he won't even give her the right pills. Like, bro, why drag her into this BS? Leave Penny alone! And he really made Darwin at the end kiss Sussy. Like, that's a fate worse than death. Come on. Number 24, The Sidekick. An episode that gives a pretty good message about how life can look from another perspective. Darwin, who's just kind of usually happy to be alive, is now self-conscious on how other people don't view him as a person, but instead a literal shadow to Gumball.
The school yearbook. That's your entry. And that's mine. It's not even me. It's a photo of your shadow. I'm your shadow. And look, Darwin Watterson, age 2 years younger than Gumball. Class, the same as Gumball. Most likely to be standing next to Gumball. Even my nickname is Gumball's Sidekick.
I'm sure mine's probably Darwin's sidekick.
No, dude. It's Darwin's boss.
Where he feels useless and how he's nothing but a sidekick. It tackles that feeling of not feeling adequate without someone else or something else to make your identity what it is. The situation escalates when Tobias is supposed to pay the boys back, but he keeps on forgetting to bring the game that he has to give to them.
Sorry, dudes. I'll totally bring it in tomorrow. I am so sorry. I'll bring it in tomorrow. I'm sorry. Sorry. Tomorrow.
Dude, you've done this for so long now, even your little sorry sounds are all the same.
So Darwin, being the new leader of the duo, what's his plan to get the game back?
You stole his mom.
Oh. The boys then have to return Tobias' mom before he notices. I think the self-reflection moment and pointing out the bros' character flaws in this one was a really cool self-aware bit. I love it when shows do things like that, where they actually reflect on their characters' relationships and how their episodes are usually set up. Number 25, the photo. Uh-oh, it's a relatable episode alert. Oh god. Gumball is incapable of taking a good school photo because he's not photogenic at all. So in an attempt to have the best school picture he possibly can, he asked Mr. Small to take the picture later. And in this time period between the pictures, he has Darwin beat up his face a little bit to look a little bit more beautiful. To which out of this we get various images like all mouth Gumball, bump ball, mustache, infinite mustache. He turns into a goddamn Burgoid. Handsome Gumball. Oh no, that's cursed. That's cursed to look at. But what the boys don't realize is that there's someone deliberately trying to make Gumball's photos worse, and that person is one Banana Joe. So when Banana Joe tried to take his photo, he was posing for a long time, and Gumball took so long that this pose actually ruined Joe's picture. So now he wants revenge. Now he wants to ruin Gumball's picture. Now he really wants to take him down.
Gumball Watterson, where are you? Come and fight me like a man!
But he doesn't need to, as when Gumball tries to take his picture, nothing goes to plan. You know, I love me some relatable Gumball. And the fact that this episode gave us this many faces and screenshots of Gumball is great, and it was very funny, so yeah. 10 out of 5. 26, The Tag. Richard and Mr. Robinson are both trying to throw away their trash, but once his trash can gets full, Richard tries to sneak a little bit of trash into Mr. Robinson's garbage can until he gets caught. And after this feud gets a little bit too messy, they both get an ankle monitor and are placed under house arrest. But even though they can't leave their house, they still want to get back at each other. And I do love to see the lengths that these two will go through just to land one finger on each other. This is a character dynamic I didn't expect because we haven't really seen Robinson and Richard interact for a whole episode like this before. And the crazy part is, it never happens again. But yeah, in the end, they do end up actually escaping their ankle monitors and are both put in a garbage can and kind of locked in there to reconnect with each other. And I can see they pulled it off pretty well here, as Mr. Robinson and Richard do complement each other kind of well. Episode 27, The Storm.
You're the chocolate chips in my cookies. You're the cream in my donut. You're the syrup in my pancakes.
Oh, that's disgusting!
The episode where Gumball splits up Alan and Carmen's relationship by being a douchebag. So Alan the Balloon and Carmen the Cactus Girl have been dating for a long while. Gumball expresses to them that he's not a fan of PDA, and no one wants to see them kissing and touching each other out in public. He starts to hear more about their relationship issues, and Carmen ends up breaking up with Alan because their relationship is just too perfect. It's getting boring. Since she wants some excitement in her relationship, Carmen actually wants to make Alan feel jealous by making it look like she's gotten with another man.
Don't worry, all you have to do is hold my hand.
Okay, I think that's enough now. If he keeps looking at me like that, I think my head's going to explode.
Compliment me.
Okay, I really like your face because it's not complicated.
He's not doing anything. Kiss me. Come on, I'm not that bad.
Look, I always thought the first girl I'd kiss would be Penny. I didn't think it would be with the chick I didn't care about. Just make another dude jealous. Gumball Watterson might be a lot of things, but he is not a cheap, corruptible coward!
Goodbye, Carmen.
This whole scheme ends up not working, and Alan ends up more depressed and deflated than ever. But Gumball explains that he needs to get back out there and fight for his girl, man. He needs to prove to Carmen that he is the man for her. But to do that, he needs a little bit of help.
Thanks, Gumball.
Whatever, man.
And that's when a fourth character comes into the mix, the Cloud Girl Masami. Masami gives the advice instead to make Carmen jealous and make Carmen fight for Alan's love again. But this doesn't end up working, and Alan is just upset that he might never see his love Carmen again. Until thanks to Penny and Darwin, the two actually do end up start talking again and admitting their real feelings for each other and what they want out of each other in the relationship, and get back together to a happy ending. But that's not fully true because Masami had ulterior motives.
I was asking
Alan is finally with the right girl, the one who has always loved him.
You lied to me!
You see, Masami was actually really in love with Alan the whole time, and she just wanted to be in a relationship with him and steal him away from Carmen. Her saying Alan is mine and her being in love with him is a reference to the pilot episode to back when they were together. Alan the Balloon and Masami the Cloud were a couple. That detail is gonna be important later. To which then she causes this big scene to try and get Alan back and destroy Carmen. There's some really funny stuff in this one. Just some of the faces that are in here are some of my favorite in the show, and this is probably gonna be my avatar for weeks. Also, I want to know, when did Masami get this overpowered? Like, you usually see strong students causing havoc like T-Rex or the Giant, but nah, you got the Cloud Girl here causing El Nino. A cute little love story told in the funniest way possible, and it's going higher than most for me. Number 28, the lesson. Gumball and Darwin go to goddamn prison. I mean detention. We meet this dude Julius, who's pretty much running the place and taking charge, and wants to escape himself. And every day it seems like it's getting worse in there, as the bad kids literally start eating each other alive. So the boys follow Julius's escape plan to try and get out with him. And this jailbreak episode ends up being really fun, as seeing them try to get creative, effective ways to escape, and using Julius's anger against him when they get him to actually explode and bust them out.
You double-crossing nerd.
Also, I want to take this moment here and compare it to something. Remember back in season 1 where they fell from like 80 feet in the air compared to this fall? This show's gotten so much better at animating and drawing pain over the years. Like season 1, I was kind of peeved when I saw that they fell from this height and did not take a single bump. And now it seems like they've improved that with actually making things look like they hurt. Number 29, the game.
Cause this room smells like dog burp. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's a glass of milk. Cheese. That's a glass of cheese. Stone. That's a glass of stone. Darwin the First. So that's where you were hiding.
Wait, I thought you said that Darwin the First left to live a happier life on a farm with other fishing.
Hey, look what I found. The game you made.
Hang on, I'm not 3 anymore. You're not gonna distract me with the what? Dodge or Dare. It's calling us.
No! We swore we'd never play that game again!
Dodge or Dare! A game the boys used to play back in season 1 when they were younger, but makes a comeback, and it's pretty deadly. So the boys abandoned Dodge or Dare, right? They've hid it away forever and never wanted to see it again, because this game is scary. One unspoken rule of Dodge or Dare is that once the board game is started, the effects of it will not stop until the game has been fully finished. That means once this game starts, no matter where you go, you have to get to the end to make the effects of it wear off. And even after telling them this, their family pulls out and starts the game.
Officer, please! I need to report a theft!
Yes, finally! What did the thief look like?
Well, he was wearing a monocle.
Uh-huh. Okay.
He had a big furry mustache.
Uh-huh, big furry mustache. Okay. Any other distinguishing features?
Yes, he was dressed as a yodeler. Aren't you going to write that down?
Just testing something. And what did that man steal?
A kiss.
You actually did it?
I like this episode a lot just because of how the game is set up, where you have to pick a card and do whatever the card says. So the writers can just use this to get off all kinds of ridiculous and slapstick bits just in rapid fire succession. But it quickly turns from all fun and games to dangerous activity as soon as actual physical things start popping up on the Wattersons, like big hands, a tumor that talks, the floor being lava, an ice being frozen, and they need to finish the game before it goes too far. Hats off to the team here for making a good one, but not for this next one. Episode 30, The Limit. Here we see Nicole hit her limit after Richard is being a terrible father, letting their kids have candy even when Nicole said they couldn't have any. After all this pressure on her builds up, Nicole realizes that she can't take this anymore and literally tries to hunt down Richard in this alternate mode when she passes her limit. It starts to use this creepy atmosphere as Nicole chases down Richard. Let me get real for a second, okay? There's two main reasons why I didn't really like this one. One, it's just the timing of the jokes. They don't really hit as hard as some of the other episodes. And two, this has only happened a few times throughout the show where the characters turn into literal NPCs with one single defining trait. It's the same problem that I had with Tobias in this introduction episode of the third. It turns these characters into literally just objects to progress the story rather than actual characters. And not to mention, it's just so, like, slow. It's just a drag to watch these guys consistently come out of the car, try to get back in and trick Nicole, only for it not to work. Because these moments and these bits of them trying to trick her kind of feel repetitive at a point. Yeah, that's just what I don't like about this one, is that the characters don't feel like themselves. They feel really flanderized and bland and just annoying throughout the entire time. Number 31, The Voice. William is a floating eyeball with psychic powers, and while he doesn't get much screen time, he gets a whole episode here. But yeah, it all starts with some social media humor and Gumball blocking people on Elmore Plus. After accidentally blocking William remembers a time where basically Gumball and Darwin blocked him in real life because they couldn't understand him. So William snaps and he tries to fold the brothers and get revenge on the pain that they put him through not being his friend.
Come on, there must be something we've done to you that's worth an apology. Dink!
Yes, come on, use your pointy brain.
But Sassy's not angry. Sassy likes you. Sassy likes all the things in the world.
Yeah, well, I gotta apologize for something, so I'll apologize for this. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
But Sassy liked that too.
Okay, next.
Though through this fight and chase scene, he realizes that the brothers can't actually hear him talking, but we can. And at the last second, he tries to apologize for what he's done, but the two couldn't hear him apologize, so they just assumed that he was coming to deliver the final blow. I really like the character they made William here. Also, I'm not really sure why it was this one, but this episode really made me, in particular, appreciate the sound in Gumball.
How dare you rub your friendship in my face? Look at me. I'm talking to you. Look at me!
The sounds of explosions, crashing, the psychic powers, the background music, it's all so good. It's got that perfect sound and intensity that really makes the episode feel a lot more panicked and a lot more intense. It really fits and enhances the mood. Ep 32 is The Promise. Another Banana Joe episode where our favorite fruit is going through some mental struggles right now. He's not exactly feeling appreciated by his friends and feels more of like a side character than an actual person. So Darwin, being the nice little guy he is, he tries to be nice and be there for him, but he ends up getting a little bit sidetracked.
Shh! Don't spoil this moment. I'm gonna open the box.
As he has to choose between which bro to go and help out, and Gumball gets a little bit jealous of Banana Joe here. So Darwin ends up staying with Gumball to comfort him and reassure that no one can replace him. And even though this ends on a good ending for them, they're not the main characters, they're not the main message here. This episode's message is about Joe, and how you shouldn't be friends with someone who's not willing to help you out when you're down. Episode 33, The Castle, the Casa de Watterson, the most relaxed home on the block. Gumball and Darwin are stressed as hell and want to get out of the house because they think they're about to be late to school until they realize...
Dude, it's Saturday.
It's Dad who's looking after us.
Richard Watterson is the most relaxed person in Elmore, and his house is the most relaxed whenever Nicole's not around.
Boom! We're home alone with Dad, so I make me own lunch. I can eat what I want, so I pick the best munch. fun. I pick up ham and chocolate chips and stick them in the bread. It need a little sauce, I say, maple and red.
And because they're so chill and relaxed, people around the neighborhood want to come over to Watterson's house to escape from their normal lives and party. But it kind of gets out of hand when Richard just ends up being too nice and is unable to say no to the people of Elmore and ends up eventually losing his entire house. And there's nothing you can even really do about it because they locked him out completely. They try multiple strategies to get back in, including disguising himself as a pizza guy trying to break the door down. None of them work until Nicole shows back up and gives everyone the look.
You're going to clean this place until it looks better than when you arrived.
Or what?
Which immediately works and gets everyone to start cleaning and get out of her house. And Richard trying to be an actual good dad and failing is a theme that's persisted throughout the season a lot, and they can still make it work from time to time. Although I feel like a lot of the jokes in this one weren't really all that. The episode just kind of started to feel slow when Richard wasn't willing to commit to actually trying to get his house back, and we were just stuck watching him and the kids fail over and over. Number 34, the boombox. It's Juke, baby, my main man Juke. Let's go, boombox boy. He finally gets some screen time. He's one of my favorite characters, and they never show him, but here they do my boy dirty.
The wicked chicken wrote a check for a walk?
You, licked the bricks you didn't fix. Okay, I'll try and say this politely, but you're gonna need to read between the lines. Due to personal circumstances, I'm unable to commit sufficient resources to resolve this communication problem.
Gumball isn't just disrespectful, but also kind of straight up racist to my boy Radiohead over here.
What language do you speak?
Please try and articulate this time. I'm gonna type that the way I heard it.
Gumball, you're not being very constructive. What country do you come from?
Don't worry, I got this. What country do boombox heads come from?
Gumball!
Ah, Boomboxenberg.
That's right, home, where you have over 500 different words for disco.
But only discovered fire in 1992. Oh, don't blame me, blame your caveman.
But Gumball gets obviously annoyed by Juke's consistent attempts to communicate and speak with them, even though he can't speak any proper English. And they spend the whole episode trying to find ways that they can get Juke to actually communicate with them. And after doing some research, they realize there's a special holiday in Juke's homeland that they now think he misses and they want to try and celebrate with him. And it's during this event that they actually flick a switch on the back of Juke's head that makes him able to speak English, but that doesn't last for long as they flick it back off.
3, 2, 1.
Grumble fight!
Come on, make an effort! It's for Juke!
Ow! Right in the switch. You finally flicked the switch. I've been trying to explain this for 2 years. My arms are too short to reach it. Guys, you can stop fighting. I appreciate the effort, but I have no idea what this Grabblefest thing is.
Well, at least we made someone happy today.
Happy Grabblefest!
Oh no, guys, wait!
And that was Bro's only line in the entire show. That's why I'm saying they did him so dirty. Hashtag free my homie Juke. Number 35, the tape. We watch along to a videotape recorded by the boys containing various clips of their work. And this is the first time in Gumball where they do this sort of clip show, where it's not like repeating clips of the past old episodes, but more, instead of trying to have a cohesive story, the show just tries to throw in bit after bit after bit. It's just all funny, no story. And you know what? Gotta say, I like these. These are personal favorites of mine. I'm kind of biased with this one, as this brings me back memories of what me and my elementary school friends used to do once class was over.
It's baby and ice, the living baby doll.
She likes to eat her cookies.
It's baby and ice, the living baby doll. Forget it, man. Let's try something else.
No. This gave me an idea.
It's the Annihilator!
With realistic Kung Fu Karate Chop action, you can break anything with a tiny hand!
And here they parody various medias like internet videos, TV shows, and commercials, and it's one of the funniest episodes of the season by far.
Just look at him.
What is he doing? Looks like he's got worms. B-A. What the what? I need to learn that code, man. Look, he's doing it again. B-A. All right, dude, film this. Up, down, left, right, B-A.
What is this cheat for?
It's for... Call it ambulance!
Number 36, The Sweaters, another supporting character episode, and this is the first time we ever see Sarah. Sarah gets much better as a character from this point on, but this introduction was alright. Sarah is an ice cream girl who has an affinity for Gumball and Darwin and wants nothing more but to talk to them.
Well, it's normal to be nervous with your reputation.
Oh, reputation?
Well, they say that you guys are tough and that you'll have those, like, awesome adventures, and you're always coming out on top.
Yeah.
They say that you don't respect the rules,
Yeah, that's right.
and they say that...
And this episode gets weird, as Gumball and Darwin are advised that they've been talked about in multiple schools, and these kids from another school that are neighbors to Elmore challenges them to a tennis fight to save the school.
Are you getting fresh with me, Dipstick? What? What does that mean? Look, who are you guys?
That's Carlton and Troy. They're from my old school.
And we're here to see how hardcore you really are.
Back off, Carlton! You don't know who you're messing with.
What part of we're not hardcore did you not understand?
If you're so hardcore...
We just said we weren't.
Then what are you gonna do about this face ache?
Absolutely nothing, dude.
You stay right there! Just speak louder!
Watch out behind you!
So, you thought you'd mouth off to Coach about being more hardcore than us. You got some nerve, you Neo-Maxi Zoom dweeby.
Firstly, that's not what happened. And secondly, how do you even know about it? It was like 2 minutes ago!
Sarah told us. We're gonna question you tomorrow at 4, Freakazoid!
And I think this tennis sequence is funny, even though the boys aren't into it at all, as I just feel this whole entire plot is boring. This whole episode is full of cliches, and the boys interacting with these weird-ass, one-dimensional characters fighting in a tennis game, but the whole point of this episode is actually to feel like Sarah wrote it, since we're revealed later on that she's just a hardcore fanfiction writer. So this episode's only corny and weird because it feels like something that Sarah would write. Number 37, The Internet. Gumball and Darwin are obsessed with their computer, and will spend hours and hours of their day staring at their screen, and oh my goodness, relatable episode alert, bring it back. But after clicking on a link and getting jump scared, somehow that embarrassing video of Gumball getting scared gets recorded and uploaded onto the internet to where it goes completely viral. So great, now they have to figure out how to take down a video. And since no one is able to help them, not even tech support, who is just like this 60-year-old internet dude, they decide to go and confront the internet himself, who is a literal character in the show. And to describe the internet character's personality, he is literally just if a Redditor came to life. He calls out for his mom about having no friends and how he can't leave the house, and it's perfect. And the scene where they have to overcome technology to finally get to his house was cool as well. Number 38, The Plan. Setting up a crazy plan for a situation that was never actually there and completely set up by my own imagination is perfectly describing overthinking. Here, the boys and the Nice experience that for the first time as they find a letter to their mom, which seems to be from a man named Daniel Leonard. And then once they read it, it looks like a love letter, to which they start to feel afraid that maybe mom might be cheating on dad with this man named Daniel Leonard. So they go through this entire plan in their head to meet up with and scare away Daniel Leonard out of their life. I think the best part of this episode comes in the middle, where they're scheming on how they can get on their parents' computer without them noticing. And multiple times through, Gumball has to keep on reimagining how he do it, so he ends up going through this fight scene with a future version of himself, and past him starts doing things to affect future him, and future him starts doing things to imagine that would hurt past him.
Alright, it's done. I've put hello. Gumball, I am you from the future. And I know it's a total bummer, but you're gonna have to correct the subject line. Can't you do it? You're here now. Gosh, was I really that much of a jerk when I was young?
Yep.
Don't mess with me, little man, cause I can go back in time and do this. So you think you're the only one that can play that game, huh? Let's see how you feel after I've had all Dad's candy.
Just stop! You're giving me cavities!
What the
You treacherous little... You put tape on it! You left the weapons on!
Okay. Or maybe I'll do this!
You do realize that this is costing you guys way more effort than just changing the message subject.
Yeah, I'm still having trouble with that hypothetical future past thing.
It's one of the most creative fight scenes I've ever seen, if you could even call it that. But it all leads to nothing when the boys realize that Daniel Leonard wasn't actually a person, but was instead a makeup brand. Damn, y'all for real got bamboozled, and I did too. I thought Daniel Leonard was real. I thought they were really about to kill that man. I think this one's pretty cute, how they're trying to defend their mom and Richard's relationship. Number 39, The World. The amazing world of Elmore is what we focus on here, where the inanimate objects of Elmore come to life. We always see the main characters of the show. We always see the Gumballs, the Darwins, and the Coles, the Richards, but we never take a moment to look out and expand our view of the rest of the world. This episode is wild because it features more characters actually having lines and being in the show than any other episode in Gumball history, at a crazy 83 characters, which ties in with the fact that this episode tries to convey how huge and amazing this whole world is, and really makes the world seem way more vibrant and alive. And now we got to episode 40, the finale. The 40th episode of season 2, which calling it the finale is a parody of other finales that cartoons do, where it starts off looking like nothing but a clip show, which is just a type of episode where the main characters reference past episodes. They show past bits, jokes, and events that are parts of the stories. But after everything that they've done in this godforsaken town, the consequences of their actions finally start to actually catch up with the Wattersons. Now, if I were to sit here and explain every single crime that the Wattersons have done over these past 2 seasons, we'd probably be here so long the sun would explode. So I'll just summarize it as every single place I go, every place that the Wattersons touch, some kind of issue or problem happens or someone gets hurt. They are a literal hazard to where they live.
Okay, we got off to a shaky start, but if we just pull together and stick to this new plan, I'm sure things are gonna go our way.
So to recap, Gumball and I will sneak into the hospital and give each other facial reconstructive surgery to make us look like the 2 highest achievers at school, Bobbert and Alan.
Meanwhile, Dad will pose as Dame Prunella Big Red Bus.
Fish and chips.
And we'll convince Alan and Bobbert's parents to pay him the entrance fee for a made-up British boarding school called something really English, like, Scotland, simultaneously paying off our debts and allowing us to replace them at school.
Oh, perfect and simple. What could go wrong?
And now everyone's ganging up on them. Everyone wants to end them, get them out of the town, push them out, finally end the Wattersons. And to put the show back into balance, they need to do as many discrepancies and wrong things as possible to make things turn out all right. This episode is meta and goofy and a little on the nose, but I like what they went for here. And the ending made me laugh a little bit, how everything was closing in on them and crashing in on them, but they had one last trick up their sleeve. And that's the outro. Oh, nice one. What a way to end the season. That's gonna be it for season 2. Here's my final ranking. And let's move on deeper to season 3, baby. Can't wait. It's good to see it. Season 3 is really where Gumball started to come into its own little show, its own little pocket dimension. Episodes were getting more original, more creative. The music was getting better and better. This season has so many bangers, and the worst episode of the entire season isn't even that terrible. We got a lot of cool stuff to go through, so let's get into it. Plus, I feel like my reviews have gotten better and longer since the episodes have started to get more complex, and I've been doing these reviews longer. Episode 1, The Downer. So these episodes might not be fully in order, but this was in the order that Hulu had it, so just chill out. Everyone wakes up one day needing something from Gumball, but when Gumball wakes up, they all realize that he's in a really, really bad mood for literally no reason. So he's just laying there angry at the world, and he wishes that everyone would just leave him alone, and it happens.
Guys? If you're all hiding so I get up, I'd like to point out that technically I haven't left my bed.
Everyone disappears. There's not a single person on Earth except for Gumball. And he does, you know, Gumball things.
What's wrong? Hark! It looks like little Jimmy wants to tell us something.
Gumball, your creator.
Just chilling, going around the world, playing his little games, killing things, until he slowly starts to accept the world he's in. Until there's this, you know, this cool and creepy darkness that creeps up on him to symbolize the negativity that's in his life, and it chases him all around this empty world.
Hold on, I'm not scared of the dark. Why should I be afraid of you? Oh yeah, that's why.
But eventually, when it catches up to him and Gumball accepts that there's no reason to really be in a bad mood, he wakes up and he has a new appreciation for his family. But besides the cool darkness that looks like it came out of Pibby and the episode's punchline,
I let my bad mood take over, and before I knew it, this darkness thing took over everything that was good. But fortunately, I remembered Dad's words and managed to snap out of it. Oh, it's great to feel good again. I'm glad all that was just in my head.
Should we tell him?
Gumborg the Destroyer will be back when the toilet tank is full.
Okay.
Actually, Alan, if you heard that, never mind. I'd rather it was just me left in the world than just me and you.
Cold.
Everyone get out of my way! I'm in a bad mood.
I didn't really like much about this episode. Listen, Gumball is funny, okay? On his own, a little bit less. I just think his humor really shines when other people are around to bounce it off of, or other people to roast, and when you're alone with him, it's cool and fun, but I'd just rather watch all the characters interact. I don't know, I might be being too picky here. Also, the song he sings in this episode sucks, compared to the other ones in the show, of course. Number 2, the money. Oh, guys, it's a perfect episode. It's got the jokes, it's got the song, it's got the crazily good animated bits, social commentary, meta humor smeared all over this goddamn beautiful meatloaf. I think you meant meta loaf. Gumball and the family go dirt broke after Richard dumps all of their money away, and their only option to stay afloat and get enough money to keep anything is to sell out and do a commercial for Joyful Burger. But they don't, because according to Gumball in the beginning, the Wattersons never sell out.
Don't worry, kids! I'll calm her down with my irresistible charm!
We're broke. No, wait. We can't afford the water bills now. This is all we got. Drink up.
But it gets harder and harder to keep that sentiment as the literal show itself starts to fall apart.
Well, we've lost everything, but hey, at least we stayed true to ourselves. We're still the Wattersons.
What's going on?
I guess it's like what people say. Without money, you're nothing.
Yeah, literally.
What's wrong with your mouth?
I don't know. What's wrong with his face? What are we gonna do?
And eventually, when they can't function, they have literally no choice but to do this commercial and sell out. This episode goes so hard, and its famous scene, the destruction of the show's animation, is one of the best meta bits I've ever seen in a cartoon. You'll see the scene in top 10s everywhere, so a lot of you probably already know about it, but if you haven't, just look at some of this broken animation. It slowly degrades into just non-animation and storyboards and drawing on post-it notes, and at this point, you can barely even call it a cartoon until it all comes back when they sign the contract and do a terrible Joyful Burger commercial.
Wait, are we really going to become cliches of ourselves just to sell a few burgers? Isn't there a way to survive in this world without selling out? Mom, I got an F in math.
But why?
Dad ate my homework again.
But Anais said it had pie in it.
All right. You know what I think we need?
Some days you want to take it easy and free with some country goodness for your family. Have a Joyful Burger, do it in style.
Finally a place I can call home. Thank you, Joyful Burger.
I don't think they sold a single burger. It's another classic episode that you can show to anyone and get them hooked on Gumball, but it's not the best of the season. No. I really didn't want to reveal it so fast, but it comes really early in the season, so I kind of have to. Episode 3, The Kids.
We enjoy it while we can. We enjoy it while we're kids. We enjoy it while there's still time to make the most of it.
I could write a whole video essay on this one, bro. This is video essay worthy. This is the most creative, the funniest, the most Gumball way you could explain puberty and growing up. So let me explain a little story. The original voice actors of Gumball and Darwin were growing up, so they couldn't do as childlike voices for the characters anymore. So they have to switch voice actors, and usually when this happens later in the show, they'll just quickly swap to the next child voice act like nothing happened. This beautiful team behind this show and this episode's writing used their voice actors growing out of their roles as a plot point and referenced it, with Gumball and Darwin getting older trying to re-embrace their childhood. And as they walk around the town, they notice things are getting weird. They're getting bigger, their voices are uncontrollable.
Where are the cookies? Hey! Oh, hey yourself, young man. I know I'm just a clerk here, but that is not a way to speak to people.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I see. Now I'm getting attitude. You know there's a policy here for disrespectful customers.
It's not my fault.
Oh, so now it's my fault.
Dude, chill out.
You refrigerate yourself, mister. All right, that's it. Security, we've got a code orange in aisle 13.
No, please, it's not my fault.
Dude, what's going on?
I can't control the volume of my voice. And now Larry's angry at me.
Until the point where their voices are completely broken, and they don't know what's going on. Until they're told by the school nurse what they're going through is called puberty. They don't like the idea of growing up out of being kids, and have a song to explain why.
We enjoy it while we can. We enjoy it while we're kids. We enjoy it while there's still time to make the most of it.
I might be a little bit biased, but this childhood rap has been stuck in my head since I first heard it. One of the brightest shining parts of this episode is the music video along with the rap song about enjoying life and enjoying being a kid. And when you listen into the lyrics, it describes everything. Everything this show is about. Every reason why it's great in under 5 minutes.
We don't need an excuse, cause we got a imagination. We're using it right now to escape the situation. Because when you're a kid, you dream of many things, like being a ninja dentist or a wizard cop with wings. We can fight a shark, bear, gator with a sword made of swords. Be the best at everything and win awesomeness awards. See an underwater castle in a seawall's made of crystal. Saving mermaids from drunk people using golden laser pistols. Under the universe in our power spaceship. Go back in time and teach cavemen how to kick flip. Don't need to worry about our future plans in college. Superpowers, robot arms, that's a substitute for knowledge. It's okay for me to dream that I'm a cowboy from the West, and for me to keep hoping that there's still a chance to grow.
Just.
How imagination in childhood is magical and fun and should be cherished. How you could stress about wanting to be adult all your life, but the second it hits you, you'll realize, oh my god, I should have enjoyed my childhood.
Maybe it's for the better. No one wants to stay a child forever. Our childhood memories are getting hazy. But soon we could drive, go to college, and we both go crazy.
What was that? Dude, what's going on? I sound even younger than before. That's it. That means we're in the 1% of people who never grow old. Yeah!
But how even though it's gonna feel sad once you grow out of your childhood phase, there's still stuff to look forward to when you're an adult. You shouldn't look at your childhood ending like the death of something magical that you can never get back, but more like a new start to new happiness or new ventures. There's like 150 more episodes to go through, so I'm not gonna harp on this for any longer, but this episode held a spot in my heart while I was growing up, man. I know it's a big statement, but these 11 minutes alone has somewhat helped shape me into who I am today. What a way to kick off the season, man. That's what I'm telling you. Episode 4, The Fan. Hey, y'all know Sarah?
I haven't figured out where I fit in here. Cause am I like the kooky one? Kooky. No?
Sarah, the likable ice cream girl, right? From last season? This episode made me rethink talking about how much I liked her. And it's revealed that Sarah is an incredibly weird stalker of Gumball and Darwin and wants nothing more than, well, their love. And she shows them both that with this video she made for them. This recording is genuinely scary.
For a very long time, I've watched you from afar, hunched in your closet or strapped beneath your car, dressed in your clothes and poised in your hair. I watched you both sleep and nuzzled your hair. It helps that your bedroom has places to hide and the windows don't lock, so I can get inside. I've waited so long to be a part of your life, and one day one of you will call me his wife.
So they now have to tell Sarah about how uncomfortable she has been making them feel recently without genuinely hurting her too bad. And there she just expresses how she just really badly wants friends and how cool she finds them.
Wait, don't you want to see what's inside my locker?
Is this another one of your tricks? Why would we want to see inside your locker?
Because this is the part of the story where you realize maybe I do all this because I'm lonely.
No, Sarah, this is the part of the story where you realize there is no story and you leave us alone.
Oh. Yeah, sure.
They think they might have been a little bit too harsh on her though, and to give the story a happy ending, the boys decide to follow the script that Sarah wrote out in one of her fan fictions, and they have a pretend fight scene. I am so goddamn happy that Sarah doesn't stay like this because oh my god, dude, the most unlikable she's ever been for sure. What the hell was this? During this episode, at one point, they tried to make us, the audience, feel bad for Sarah by like showing us how lonely she is and how Gumball and Darwin were her only friends. The only problem with that is they show us that like right after her being a creepy ass stalker, and now we're supposed to just like understand why she's a creep and sympathize. That just don't make sense to me, gamer. But the rest of the episode is good enough and very meta. I just didn't really get that one aspect of it. Number 5, the coach.
Friend.
I am not anyone's friend. The only friends I need are Grandma and Grandpa Fist, and they don't give candy. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do something so bad it'll go down in school history!
Oh, that could be associated with terrible things. One day in PE, we get introduced to the coach character, a big Minecraft block of a person that bosses the kids around. We also find out that this coach is Jamie's mom. I don't really want to know how that happened, but this is the first time we get like a proper introduction to Jamie. At this point, we know who Jamie is. Jamie is like this cow bull girl. She's like the main bully in the entire school. She's reckless, she'll hurt people, she'll fold and kill people. She's no joke, okay? But at one point in the school cafeteria, when she's about to bully Gumball, Gumball, who's too weak to even run away because he's too hurt from gym, the coach walks in and scolds Jamie, making her apologize. This then puts an idea in the boy's head. They now have a new power over the school bully. Just tell her mom. So anytime Jamie's a bully, Gumball threatens to tell her mom about it, but it kind of backfires when Jamie goes a little bit too far. She threatens everyone at the school and then storms off and hops in the coach's car. Gumball sees this and mistakes it as Jamie is going to assassinate the coach, which is why she hopped in the back of her car so sneakily. And he has to chase it down before they get to their house. But it's there he finds out that he was wrong the entire time. But yeah, this episode felt pretty pointless. I mean, it didn't really introduce anything about Jamie's character besides her being angry and a bully, which we already knew. I might just be biased because I do not like Jamie in these earlier seasons. Jamie is actually the center of a lot of the worst episodes in the show, this being one of them. Episode 6, The Joy, is an episode based around an infectious disease spreading around Elmore, turning everyone into mindless, glittery, joyful zombies. Now that might not sound bad to some people, but to Miss Simeon, who hates all fun and all joy,
Dress code.
Good. Excellent. Perfect. I love the smell of despair on a Monday morning.
she tries her best to survive and cure this happiness. But unfortunately, it doesn't really end up well for her, as everyone around her feels like she's crazy. But Gumball and Darwin are the first ones to randomly inherit this disease and become super spreaders, slowly but surely spreading it around the entire school. Now, forget where this disease came from, because it really just came out of nowhere and no one knows. But Miss Simeon needs to figure out a cure before the whole school is overrun by happiness. This found footage, old horror movie vibe, and I think it ventures into Gumball's creepier side, which you know I like it when Gumball gets creepy. This episode is so stylistically different and stands out amongst everything else with its quality and creativity, and it's not like any other Gumball episode. Especially having the main character as Miss Simeon and only Miss Simeon, that doesn't happen any other time in the series. And not to mention the funny zombie movie bits that they throw in here. Number 7, the puppy? Puppy, this chicken's bussin'. Gumball, Darwin, and Anais all form a plan, and they all collectively want a puppy. So they want to bring a presentation to their parents on why they should possibly get an animal, which is kind of weird since they are animals and they want to own each other, but they asked their dad for one anyway. Although when they opened the box, they said the puppy's in, there's no puppy, there's only this abomination.
Please tell me that isn't a puppy.
Definitely isn't a puppy.
I can't believe you've done this, Richard. A pet is a big responsibility, and I don't have time to look after a... Ugh, what on earth is that?
It's a Labradoodle. It's a Labraturtle.
A whole snapping turtle he bought from a shady guy in a van. And it goes on to cause nothing but hell for this entire family. It's just full of hatred. Nothing likable about this animal whatsoever. So the kids kind of make multiple attempts to hopefully get this thing away from them. So they try multiple ways to off it. By drying it out, leaving it in the sun, throwing it away. Didn't work. Tried leading it out to sea, only ended up in Darwin almost dying. Then after a final battle where Gumball runs to the back of the van that they got it from, it looks like it's all over until Darwin shows back up. They have this big fight that ends with a telephone pole hitting an explosive and the whole van blows up, but like the Terminator, the turtle is still up and kicking. They eventually just accept that they can't really kill it off and decide to keep it around. So we have a new addition to the Watterson household. But the turtle itself was good enough to give me a good laugh a few times with just how hellish it was. It was just so evil. Just nothing redeeming about it. Episode 8, The Recipe, which I believe is the only episode about our supporting character, Anton. Anton is a piece of toast. That's him. But the weird thing about Anton is that he keeps on dying. Like every single point in the school, there's just a new thing to murder him over and over and over and over again. Gumball and Darwin actually go to spy on Anton's parents and sees that the process in just making a new Anton is simply putting a piece of bread in that magical toaster.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
So Gumball and Darwin decide to play God and clone our boy Anton.
They did something with the doll before Anton came out. I think it was 1 left, 1 right, and then 4 1/2.
Now creating these Antons is all well and good, but the question is, if you're gonna play God, when you create life, what happens when that life starts to destroy itself? This is just Florida. All goes awry when the boys create this one single Anton that they accidentally burn and completely throw away. This Anton wants revenge, so he gathered an army of other Antons to go and defeat the original. So Gumball, or his father will finally love him. Okay, I just say a burnt piece of toast with daddy issues is like the last thing I was expecting from this one. But honestly, I kind of wish he stuck around more because this burnt Anton is way more interesting than our actual Anton. But I did like watching Darwin fight off the army of Antons that was being commanded by the evil one. And this really serious plot forming out of these goofy toasts that came to life was really entertaining to watch. Episode 9, The Name. Find out that Gumball's real name isn't actually Gumball, but instead something way more normal than you could ever expect. Finally winning at an arcade game led Gumball to want to enter his name in to be at the top of the leaderboard. And instead of entering Gumball Ball, he wants to find out his real name, which he then goes on to find out is Zach. Zach is a sick-ass name. Look at this Zach. Look at this Zach. Look at this Zach. Badasses. And Gumball, realizing that he is a Zach, starts to transform into a sort of cooler version of himself.
Hey, coach! Great game last night!
You're not in the team, Waterson.
Go Elmore Ducks!
And soon enough, Zach starts to become this other personality that manifests and starts to take over Gumball. Going around acting like he's the coolest monkey in the jungle, just causing havoc for everybody. If Zach was real, he'd be one of those e-boys that does this thing. But Zach starts to go around bullying members of the family, turning Richard into a man-mom. So the family has to race him to the city hall to get his name changed, while Gumball has this weird internal dreamlike battle with Zach as he goes through Gumball's head trying to change his memories, and Gumball has to correct them by being a loser.
Buddy, wake up! We need you to sign your name!
My name? What is my name? Dude doesn't even know his own name anymore. Just accept it and fade away.
Until it all ends up where when Gumball actually won something in life is when he finally remembers his name. And he's able to overcome Zach and become himself again. That whole dream sequence and battle as they walk through Gumball's mind with a bunch of callbacks to old episodes, I thought was really sick to see. It was really well done and stylized great. I mean, look at how chaotic and weird this is, just like the show. And also, can I just say Zach as a character, right? Zach's the complete opposite of Gumball, right? Well, Gumball is the unprepared troublemaker who just wants to have a good time versus Zach, the lovable bad boy rogue that doesn't play by her daddy's rules. But I kind of like both characters in certain ways here. You like Zach because he's cool, he does what he wants, and Gumball's our OG. We relate to him more and we've known him for longer. And this whole battle and narrative points out a very specific detail on why this show works so well, which is how Gumball is just a loser. A really good protagonist that you can root for and love, but at the exact same time, hate his guts. This one's going up pretty high because that battle scene was fire. Ooh, episode 10. Ooh, the extras. You ever thought about what the lives of the background characters of Gumball are like? No? Well, man, it's too late. You're getting it anyway, you dumbass.
What's going on today? Yeah, my room.
Finally, is it my turn? Is it my time to leap from the background and shine? You have ignored us for way too long. Do you think that's really fair? There's stuff happens to us as well when you're looking elsewhere. So stop being blind. This is our time. It's your turn to stand behind. Don't make a fuss. This one's about us! Just notice us!
Okay.
Yeah, this is just an episode of a bunch of jokes made up using the side characters of Gumball that don't really get main roles otherwise. The concept of the episode is good, the song in the beginning and the end is way too good actually. Like, listen to this bear flex the pipes, and the jokes were on point, specifically Bacon Man.
Bacon Man, I made a bacon. I'm the only one who can convert the vegetarian to bacon. Cause I made a bacon, I'm the Bacon Man, I made it.
I really wish they made a whole episode with Bacon Man. I really hope some of these characters show up in later episodes, and well, I mean, with my current knowledge, I know a few will, but this was just too much fun to just leave these guys out forever. Episode 11, The Gripes. Gumball's in a bad mood for no reason.
Problem, buddy?
I really like this song, but I want to sleep some more.
I feel like on Gucci Mane in 2006.
But he ends up putting Darwin in a bad mood too. And they get all gripey and all annoyed, and they think their life is miserable, just complaining and complaining. And they're kind of driven by annoyance. They just do things because they're annoyed. They rip up each other's clothes because they're annoying. But being so annoyed got them to a point where they accidentally made each other look homeless. And this attracts attention from a bunch of strangers to try and donate and help the two of them. They then try and tell the crowd that they aren't actually homeless, but are met with sheer anger.
Thing to you all.
We're not poor.
They lied to us!
horse that you took to the mall for whatever reason.
So they have to somehow get out of this situation without telling everyone that they aren't actually homeless. So their reflexive reaction and their whole plan is to trash their house to make it look like a crack den so they can actually look homeless. The things they do to this house are actually disgusting, but you know, I do understand it, and I did kind of like this episode. This episode was alright. I mean, we got Gumball and Darwin just like complaining again, and them just being whiny at the start. You know, wasn't exactly entertaining, and it took up like half the episode, but I liked the rest of it where the charity kicked in and they had to try and escape. It's not too bad. Number 12 is the vacation. The family are going on a vacation, and as they drive through the desert, they decide to tell scary stories to each other. And as they tell these ridiculous stories in an attempt to be scary, Nicole decides to lay an actual scary story on them. Once upon a time, there was a family very similar to the Wattersons that was riding through the desert on their way to their vacation when all of a sudden their car broke down. They were met by this seemingly friendly family that came up to them and showed them hospitality by inviting them into their home. It was later that night when the family was sleeping where they realized that these weren't any normal people, but cannibals ready to devour their flesh. That was pretty good though, Nicole. That was like a Mr. Creepypasta horror story. Hey there kids, Mr. Creepypasta. But the more time that these guys spend in the desert, it seems like everything that Nicole said in her story is slowly starting to come true with them. I've said this multiple times now, I'm gonna stop saying it, but I gotta bring it up whenever it happens. I love when Gumball gets creepy. For example, this toothless guy's stare as he comes up to them and invites them into his house. But the story all coming to reality and them mistaking these people to be the cannibals when all they wanted to do was offer them some pizza was really funny and absurd. This feels like another case of season 1 where they walk through the Forest of Doom. A bunch of creepy imagery and a creepy chase scene with a little small plot based around it, roping it all together. It's okay. Episode 13, The Fraud.
Let's just say we like to dress sharp, but not that sharp.
We thought no one would notice. What gave it away? Did we mess up the back part?
No, it was the pixelated part!
In a random scolding in his office, Gumball gets a good look onto Principal Brown's wall behind him and sees that his diploma is not real. It's painted on the wall. Well, now Principal Brown sees these boys as a threat and tries to keep them quiet about his diploma with various ways to pay them off. Bro, the weirdest part is when Principal Brown literally tries to become their friend.
Swag, rap music.
What the what?
Piercings, YOLO, hashtag, MP3, tweets, selfies, skinny jeans, LO.
I'm sorry, Principal Brown, but you look like such a jerk that even a granola-crunching pacifist like me had to do something about it.
And by dressing up and acting like a kid to like befriend them and then talking to them at sleepovers. And when his methods don't work, Principal Brown's final solution is to lay waste to the entire school and blow it up. Principal Brown is definitely a character that deserves more screen time, and I'm so glad they gave it to him. He really improved as a character from season 1. I mean, previously he was nothing but a buzzkill that didn't really feel all that interesting, and now they're actually starting to show his full-on insane side and mentioning his dark backstory that no one still actually knows. But there's ways that you can do snapping in a funny and absurd way, and by snapping I mean mentally snapping. Episode 14, The Void. Alright, I want you to take a good look at this character, alright? Alright, I have a question, right? Do you remember her name? A lot of people know her, but don't exactly remember who she is or what she was like. And initially, as much as I remembered about the show and all of its characters, out of all of them I can name, I struggled to even think of a letter for hers. This is Molly, and she's been entirely missing from Gumball all the way since season 1. The boys notice this one day, and there seems to be an entire rift in this school where her locker used to be. They get Mr. Small to help, and him being the conspiracy theorist that he is, he's already on, like, investigating this. So they all realize this, and they go to find her by discovering something strange and unnatural. A portal opening to a realm even stranger of their own, where all the world's mistakes get sucked into, all in this sort of static dimension. I love how this episode looks, but my favorite part are the little jokes and cameos we see in The Void. You guys see the weird stuff here? Is that Crazy Frog? Oh yeah, and that guy is not important at all. This guy sitting here, nope, not at all. They do eventually all end up finding Molly, and Mr. Small does end up finding what he was missing, his good old van. They then have to escape as fast as possible before the rift actually closes, and getting in Mr. Small's van, they use the power of love to blast off through the hole. Until once they get out of this realm, they all get their mind wiped and just erased. And don't worry, this isn't the one-off. This all will definitely play a role in the future and reveal some secrets. That's right, gamers, it's lore! Yo, Five Nights at Freddy's, episode 15, The Boss! After Gumball and Darwin make him the most angry he's ever been, Mr. Robinson pops a fuse and a bunch of stuffing flies out of his head, causing him to go to the hospital. Gumball and Darwin go down to see his son Rocky to let him know that, yo, your dad's in the hospital. But Rocky doesn't even want to show up because his dad thinks he's a disappointment. Rocky is a single dude living alone in a goddamn janitor's closet closet in a middle school. But Rocky feels like he needs to get a real job to get the actual respect from his dad before he goes to see him again. So he signs up to work at this huge company that's totally not a representation or a parody on anything in real life, and he ends up signing off his soul into working every day and night for these higher-ups. Gumball and Darwin need to bust him out of there, and I really like this one. The way they work through the building like it's levels in a video game, and as it started to close in on them and try to drown them in papers, and as they came up on boss fights, it was really cool to see the story kind of build up like that, you feel me? And as they battle through different levels, they take down the big boss at the top by ripping apart his contract. It shows every character in the Robinson family, showcases their personalities perfectly. I don't know who I'm beating up right now. Episode 16, The Move. Here in this one, we see Clayton again have his own episode.
What's going on here? Stop it! You're gonna get wrinkles! Guys! Hey, guys! All right, you asked for it. Say hello to Dogwood! What was that for? To stop you guys hating on each other.
Look, he was the one giving me the stink eye! What? I was just trying to read the menu.
Here Clayton was being a compulsive liar like he always is, and the boys try to get him to snap out of lying all the time, because lying can lead to bad things, but it just leads to nowhere. It all comes to the day where Clayton says he knows a magical kung fu trick where he can knock someone out and explode their heart with one finger. The boys call Cap and ask Clayton to prove it. When we test it out, what do you know?
Really? You made the kung fu sound with your mouth?
You were doing so well.
Okay, I'm gonna bounce. I've got gals in different locales.
He wasn't lying this time. They then have to try and get out of the trouble for knocking out Tobias, who kinda totally deserved it. This dude is on every girl he sees. This one is similar to Clayton's last episode, The Skull. The only distinguishable quality that differentiates them is the action scene in the first Clayton episode, The Skull. I thought that section held a lot of value, and even though it was a lie, it was still epic to see like Clayton actually use his clay powers in that sort of way. It had a lot of value in making that episode good, and I feel like this one was just kinda okay. Sort of plain. Episode 17, The Law. We get to finally learn a little bit about Donut Cop, the cop of Elmore who is literally only a cop and always a cop 24/7. And here we have an episode of Donut Cop trying to be cool after Gumball and Darwin tell him about how all cops are lame. So Donut Cop takes him in a drive around in the police car and goes a little bit insane. In this wake of trying to be cool, Donut Cop accidentally snaps and goes on an absolute rampage on the road, which then something horrifying happens.
Thank gosh it's the old stroller full of trash trick.
His antics soon get him fired from the force, and the only way to get his job back is to save the town from the stolen ice cream truck, which this lady actually stole when Gumball broke the law in front of this now fired cop. This episode was a fine bit of character development. When we learn about what he's all about, how insane he is, and how he saves the day, it was a nice bit of character that we don't really get to center on too often. I'm also happy about seeing this posh mom snapping and go crazy, because she is just so unlikable, and she deserves every bad thing she gets. We get into her more later, but you'll see. Episode 18, The Allergy.
First, distract target.
Look! Behind you! Your butt!
Then disorientate.
Adopt a 90-degree evasion.
Uppercut. And disarm.
Discombobulate. Wait, I have no idea what that means. Just double block him on the head real hard. Employ rapid block and strike. Enemy disarmed, confused, ready for the coup de grace. A formidable plan. Commence attack.
Darwin is allergic to something and is having a violent reaction to an allergy to it. And it's so violent that Gumball and Anais have to find out how to get rid of it because it's just getting annoying how violent it is. Alright, and I'm gonna use a term to describe this type of episode, and people, y'all might call me dumb for it. I might very well be dumb for saying that. I was gonna call this filler, but I think a better term instead of filler would be comfort episode. An episode that's extremely neutral. Ones that aren't extremely funny or sad or angry. It's just very surface level storytelling with a few good jokes. Episode 19, The Mothers. It's a happy day, bro. It's Mother's Day, and the boys want to show their mom why they think she's the best, superest mom in the world. They drew her some crazy looking fan art too, holy. But there's a problem, because Banana Joe also thinks he has the best mom in the world. So they decide to settle this dispute in a huge event called the Mom Off, which is an event where the moms will compete in hundreds of tasks to see who's the most resilient, strongest, and aware mom, without the moms actually knowing they're doing any challenges. Something about this quick succession of challenges really killed. A mix of shots of everything that's happening to Nicole, all the terrible things, mixed with Tobias's mom killing everything, mixed with Banana Joe's mom just dying.
Round 4, agility!
Rising up like a queen of the empire, nothing's ever gonna bring her down. Leave the rest in a mess down the wayside, she's never gonna be pushed around.
Round 32, tolerance!
She's the best and you best believe it. Bring it on, she can take or leave it. No.
43, intelligence!
What's up with the leg strutting?
It all makes it so funny. Dude, Banana Joe's mom needs some help. Bless her heart, man. She's trying her best. But the boys actually figure out at one point that Tobias has been cheating the whole time. Him and his mom has been in cahoots, and they've been talking about this mom event, so she knew all of the traps that were coming towards her. This all leads to Nicole winning the Mom Off, and once Gumball and Darwin tell her, they get grounded. She gets nothing out of it. Eventually, though, when they do end up going back to the car, this ends up in the boys actually being in trouble, and Nicole has to save the day like the super mom she is, slowly turning into Superman as she dives down to save her kids. The Nicole that will go out of her way to save her kids, even when she's mad at them, is my favorite Nicole. This one just kind of leaves you with a warm feeling inside, and a permanent sympathy for Banana Joe's mom, because, oh my god, her torture never ended. Number 20, the password. So at the beginning of the episode, Gumball and Darwin have to debate on who is Dad's favorite child, as apparently he changed the password to their computer to be whoever that favorite child is. They have this funny sequence at the beginning where they're trying to like debate who's a favorite between them.
Password clue? Favorite child? Ooh. Ah. Ouch. Sorry, man. This is awkward. What the what?
Really? This moment is so much bigger than me and
Well, if it's not you and it's not me, then who could the favorite child be?
You just waste time on us.
But that is until they realize that it's neither of them, and they enter in Anais' name and figure out she's the favorite.
Yes! What are you doing? A victory dance! We cracked the password!
That doesn't matter. Don't you get it? Anais is the favorite child.
Yeah, but...
What is that?
It's a sad dance.
Oh, okay.
So since they think Anais is Dad's favorite child, they try to go on his good side and fail. And after getting angry, they say how Dad's not their favorite parent. But this is messed up, okay? Richard wants to be the favorite parent. So he wants to go out and buy the kids new stuff to become their favorite parent, but not before Nicole tries it. They then have this intense race down the highway to see who can be the better parent. This episode is just dumb fun and I love it. Half of it just makes absolutely no sense. The jokes are just funny enough and perfectly edited to make up for it. And then once they actually get to Laserdisc and get back home, we realize it's another situation like the remote from season 2, where all of this was Anais' plan all along and she outsmarts everyone.
The important thing is, you know there's no favorite in this family. Never was, never will be.
So, are you gonna change the password on the computer now, Mr. Dad?
What do you mean?
Oh, you know, Anais' favorite child, it's the password.
No, it isn't.
The password is password. Crafty, huh?
But who else could have changed the... Clever girl.
Yeah, it's all yours, guys. I've been on it all day. Oh, good luck logging in. I changed the password.
Incredible stuff. You wonder why I warmed up to her character. Episode 21's The Procrastinators. Gumball and Darwin are lazy as hell. And that's literally the whole episode. Episode 22. They keep on just trying to find new ways to distract themselves from doing actual responsibilities. But there is one thing they need to do. They need to clean up and take the trash out, or else they might face the wrath of the Termominator. But I do like how they do everything in their power to like slack off. It reminds me of that one SpongeBob episode where he just kept on trying to write a letter but kept on getting distracted. And then they have to get the trash out without anyone noticing. everything, and this episode is very okay. Besides that beat, it was just simple, relatable humor, and you know, it's fine. Episode 22, The Shell. The Shell is probably a lot of people's #1 for the season, for this entire series, for everything. I completely get it, because this is the episode that changed Penny and Gumball's relationship forever. In a school play where Gumball and Penny were playing the main characters, at the end, they were supposed to kiss, and Gumball did not notice this, and he was not prepared. So randomly, out of the blue, he leans in and gives Penny her first concussion. Thanks to his massive head, Gumball accidentally cracks Penny's shell while trying to lean in for their first kiss, and after he finds out about the crack, he notices something weird's going on with it. There's something definitely beneath the shell that he's never seen before.
What was that?
Don't know what you mean.
You know, there was that...
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You know, the...
I really don't know.
What's in the shell, woman?
Okay. It's the real me.
Something that's been locked away and protected by her shell and by her family for years. Her dad refuses for Penny to see Gumball or for Gumball to see any more of Penny. But thankfully, Penny's actually able to sneak out of her house and get to Gumball's, with everyone in the family eavesdropping, which I find really cute. So Gumball convinces Penny to reveal herself and show what's been underneath that shell and what she's been hiding away all her life. And once she does...
Together.
Together?
Together.
You're right! You're right! I'm gonna do it!
That's it! Break free, Penny!
Okay, here we go! I'm gonna be myself!
What? You lost.
He's lost for words, but Penny mistakes his awe for horror and runs away thinking that Gumball thinks she's a monster.
No, Penny, I think you lost.
Look at me! I'm a monster!
No, Penny, wait! You look... extraordinary.
We also figure out here that Penny could literally transform based on her emotions, and Gumball has to chase her down to tell her how he really feels. And after a massive chase scene that includes scolding Penny's own dad...
I know, she looks fantastic, right?
What have you done? You've turned her into a freak.
Freakishly beautiful young lady.
She looks like a pig.
Sure, a beauty, absolutely.
You turned my daughter into a monster.
Truck of prettiness.
Gumball, please tell my father that the monster has gone to live in the forest with all the other beasts.
What?
I wonder why my daughter is upset after I called her a freaky pig monster.
Now, with all due respect, I'm gonna have to ask you to shut up!
Penny's just so emotionally distraught with the fact that maybe Gumball might not like the real her. She takes so many different extreme forms in quick succession that almost ends up putting Gumball in a coffin, and also discovering Banana Joe's weird addiction? Same, Joe. Same. And getting help from his family when he runs into pest control, Gumball heroically makes it to Penny and finds her as a beast.
You know, I was trying to protect you back there.
Yes, I know.
Sad staring at the moon alone, but he wants to convey to Penny how she's not a beast, she's just herself, and he wants to convey how he feels about her, and he figures out the best way to do that.
Holes in it before.
But do you really think you could love?
That's not what you are. It's just how you feel. And this is how I feel.
Gumball kisses a dog, bro. Gumball's a furry. I mean, I know he's a cat, but he's a furry. And after going through multiple transformations, she finally ends up as herself again after their first kiss. But this episode's actually crazy, man. I remember this episode being so hyped up so much as a kid, and then after weeks, it finally came out. And this moment was huge for like a 12-year-old me, man. You don't even know. The episode's got great bits and jokes that are literally memes today. The animation is crazy and absurd, and a personal detail I really liked was how quickly it ended. I hate it when ending to a really good episode or a really good movie will drag on like the movie length way too long. Just once you get past the actual entertaining part, everything you wanted to show, you can just end it. It's all good. So the way that this ended right after the big moment and they showed what they wanted to show, I personally really appreciated that. And also, it was so rejuvenating and refreshing to see Gumball not be a loser for once and actually stand up for what he believes in and tell other people right from wrong based on what he's learned in his life. Not to mention actually working together with his family. Like this moment in particular, where he confronts Penny's dad about not being supportive of his daughter no matter what she's going through. This is something that season 1 Gumball would have never done or said, and you know what that's called? character development, baby. And it's beautiful how it all comes together. It's an incredible episode. And I'm still happy because we get 3 Penny episodes in a row. Let's go. Episode 23, The Burden, continues the story after the shell, where we see Gumball and Penny on a date, but Gumball was forced to bring along this weird little hamster named Chris Morris, who was actually the school's pet. He was assigned to be watched by Gumball and Darwin as a sort of punishment, but the boys end up having a great time with Chris Morris. You know, he makes Gumball look better on dates. It gives Darwin someone to talk to when no one else is around.
Things have changed. It used to just be me and him versus the world, but now all he cares about is Teddy. I think this all started a long time ago, back when I was still just a kid. I don't know why I'm so worried. It doesn't matter anyway. I just don't want to be left alone, you see? It's the silence, the terrible silence. What, Chris Morris? I think I just realized that all this is coming from my fear of abandonment. I'm projecting my anxieties onto my brother and forgetting to actually live my own life. Dude, thank you.
And soon they realize that they both love Chris Morris. He brings nothing but happiness and joy to their life, and they'll love him forever and ever and... Oh no. Yeah, that's not Chris Morris. It turns out that Chris Morris got swapped, so that's not a little furry creature. That's just a ball of... Give me chills down my damn spine. These Ren and Stimpy hair shots are gonna get to me for the rest of my life. Anyway, once they realize this, they have to go and get the real Chris Morris back and put him back in his cage. But after Chris Morris saves them from getting caught, they realize that, you know, maybe we should free Chris Morris from this cage. So they do it, and he walks off into the sunset. Very nice. We got a really cute Penny and Gumball scene here. Plus, we also got a sneak peek of Darwin being jealous at Penny, which we get a follow-up on in the next episode, number 24, The Bros. Bros before hoes, pals before gals, whatever you want to call it. Gumball is not following it, and he's consistently showing more love to Penny than Darwin.
So, who would you invite?
Never you mind.
Oh, come on, tell me.
No, you first.
Oh, fine. But you gotta say yours at the same time. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Penny!
You! What?
Okay.
And I'm not jealous of Penny!
Dude, don't freak out. There's enough space in my life for the both of you.
She's crowding us! She's suffocating! She's oppressing us! She's smothering, burning us!
Okay, enough! I wanted your opinion on something important, but if it's gonna be like this, then just go home!
And it's because of this and Gumball constantly talking about Penny that Darwin tries to sabotage Penny and Gumball's relationship and nearly breaks them up completely as Penny breaks up with Gumball as she doesn't want to come in between Gumball and Darwin's friendship.
What are you doing?
Whatever it takes for you to still love me. Is it working?
If by working you mean making me nauseous, then... But it doesn't matter anyway. Penny's left me. She didn't want to come between us, and it's all your fault.
So, to make it up to him, the boys team up to fix this in one big date night to try and bring them back together. And this date night ends up being a disaster, but, you know, it really shows Penny why she loves Gumball in the first place. It's a little bit of a mess. Darwin in this episode was, you know, pretty annoying, but as I said before, I do like jealousy as a theme. I feel like it leads to a lot of good bits and a lot of great episodes. Episode 25, The Mirror. So Gumball here gets caught up in one of those scam chains that tell you to send this email to 5 other people or else your dick will fall off. Well, Gumball has sent one of these random ghostly emails that tells him that if he doesn't forward the email to 5 of his contacts, he gets cursed. He doesn't believe this at first, obviously, because these emails go out and around all the time that are 100% fake. There's no way that this could possibly be real, especially not in Gumball world. There's no such thing as ghosts in Gumball.
Hey, Gary, can you please tell Darwin that the Snatcher doesn't exist?
See? Even Carrie is freaked out by the curse.
I think it was more the fact that we were eating underwear.
The ghosts that haunt these emails are real. Gumball and Darwin, with the help of Carrie, need to save their family before it's too late because they will literally die and get sucked into this mirror if they don't.
Hey dude, can you pass this on to Penny? You're so cool that you give penguins brain freeze.
Gumball says you're fat.
Unfortunately, we gotta go down to the depths for this next episode, which is number 26, The Man. Granny JoJo gets a new boyfriend, and it's Louie, the old man mouse. Someone who was previously just an extra in the show, but now they've taken on a full role in getting with Granny JoJo. But now that she's happy, trying to live her life, and moved on from her old dad, Richard is unhappy and doesn't want her to. Because who said I wanted a new dad? Where'd the old one go? Richard is not happy and consistently tries to break up Louie and JoJo, so the boys decide to settle this with a man-off to see who's more of a man. And through this man-off, we find that Louie is much more of a man than Richard will ever be, and Richard feels depressed. All he wanted to do here was help out his mom and not feel left behind, as his childhood trauma sorta gave him a little bit of an attachment issue. Hey, shout out mental illness. I think it was how antagonistic Richard was to Louie is what threw this one off for me. It feels so weird and out of character for Richard to be this mean and in the wrong. I didn't like it. Episode 27, the pizza. The town is thrown into disarray and chaos once the most mistreated, hard-working man in town, Larry, quits all of his jobs at once. Which, you know, his jobs included pest control, police accountant, delivery driver, cashier, pretty much everything that kept Elmore running. Without Larry, this just turns into a whole new Mad Max world with gangs and stealing and violence everywhere. Why did he quit? Well, the Wattersons were all angry one day and wanted to order a pizza. But after they kept on making demands to change the pizza and demanding it to get here faster, well, Larry kind of realizes halfway through that, maybe I don't have to keep working like this. And the family has to fight through the world and find Larry so they can get him to go back to all his jobs again. While it's not the best, I definitely prefer episodes where Larry is like this because he actually stands up for himself. And here we're actually shown how important Larry is and not just a story character that gets abused just because it's funny. Number 28, The Lie. So there's an annual sort of depression that happens in January after Christmas ends. All the kids gotta go back to school, all the adults gotta go back to work, and no one is happy because the next event or next holiday is not for months. That's until Gumball decides to make up a lie about a holiday that doesn't exist to get everyone in a happy, jolly mood again. So Gumball creates the myth of the Sluzzle guy on Sluzzletag.
What's Sluzzletag?
Only the best day of the year!
What's going on with you anyway? I haven't seen the sun for so long I've lost all my color. I'm so depressed.
Then why are you dancing?
I think I've got the shakes.
Don't be depressed to behave like a drag, for everyone knows today's Sluzzletag!
I'm the one here who does all the rhymes, so wait for your own time.
Christmas, but more metal, with a lot more screaming and oily meats.
By the power of cheese! By the power of bacon! By the power of processed meats! By the power of carbs and deep fat frying! I give you the Sluzzlewurst! It's a sausage with everything in and on it.
And everyone's having a great time celebrating Sluzzletag until everyone goes to bed and they realize that
Happy Sluzzletag!
I can't wait to see what Sluzzledude brings me.
Me too.
Tell you, Sluzzletag.
Good night, buddy.
So what are you gonna do now?
wait a minute. This was a lie. Everyone in Elmore is expecting presents from the Sluzzle dude, and no one's gonna wake up to anything. So Gumball and the Nice try to run around and give people whatever presents they can, and these presents don't end up being much until they get found out, and Gumball has to tell the truth. But then they have the realization that the real Sluzzletag was in their hearts all along. No, shut up. Lame! Number 29, the butterfly.
Is it a leaf?
No.
Is it a really small sandwich?
No.
It looks like a yellow eye, but closed.
Nah, it's my butt.
What you are looking at is called a chrysalis. The caterpillar wraps itself up inside and emerges as a beautiful butterfly.
Like me.
Joseph, we've been here before. When is it appropriate to take your skin off?
Christmas.
Counselor's office.
Well, between a butterfly with a human face and the sequence of chaos, it's kind of hard to say what the fuck is even happening here. But in this episode, Elmore experiences the butterfly effect, where a small, simple change such as releasing a butterfly into the wilderness could lead to a catastrophe like a tornado. And right off the bat, you can just tell this is a fun episode for jokes and wasn't meant to be taken seriously, as the first frame you see is literally Banana Joe's thick, juicy cheeks. And while most of it is Elmore falling into chaos, there's also scenes like this where we watch an old man reach for $1 for a whole minute, and the pacing of this just goes back back and forth like waves. Also, if you're wondering, the face on this butterfly is Chuck Klein, a former storyboard artist for Gumball. Number 30, the question. The fact that they use such a deep and philosophical question and managed to make it work with one of the goofiest shows I've ever seen just shows Gumball's prowess. After getting extremely high from eating too much of their sugar-filled cereal, Gumball and Darwin think about many questions they have about life and debate on whether they can answer them or not, until one question comes into their head that they realize kind of scares them and they can't answer.
Look at pigeons. They don't get anything done. Yeah, what's the point of their life?
What's the point of our lives? I will find out!
And I'll help you!
The difference between the silly world of Gumball and a scarily bleak question like what is the meaning of living at all surprisingly makes for a great episode, as Gumball and Darwin go around asking what their neighbors' philosophies are on the meaning of life. All the while, the one most spiritual guy that you would actually expect to talk about this for hours, Mr. Small, is just chasing after them and getting completely ignored the whole time, which is funny as hell in my opinion. I like the jokes too, like the Planet song, and the episode ends with a pretty good answer to the meaning of life from Sussy of all people.
I'll never find the meaning of life.
Pigeon mayo! Yeah!
Well, at least someone's got it all figured out.
Well, yes, you see, life's not about the destination, it's about the journey and making friends along the way. The search for meaning is in fact the very thing that gives our life meaning. So, really, the only question that is truly worth asking is... So really, the only true meaning of life is finding your own way to enjoy it.
Like laughing at that?
Or doing this.
Pigeon mayo! Pigeon mayo!
I like that. Episode 31, The Saint. So, we all know Alan, right? The balloon. He's the most positive person in Elmore. He's perfect down to every little detail of his body language, what he does, his relationships. And Gumball is the complete opposite of that, wishing that he would be perfect like Alan, and he's an absolute douche, so he hates him for it. So Gumball hatches a plan to drag Alan down to his level, when in reality, he's just too goddamn pure for this earth. Anything that Gumball throws at him, Alan just kind of bounces back and turns it into a positive situation until the end, when he just makes everything around him positive. And it seems like nothing can crack Alan until...
But I've learned a lot about myself. Mostly that I'm a disgusting person and you're a better man than me. So, yeah, thanks for that.
What's important is that you stay true to yourself. Can you please stop making that noise?
What?
Dragging your feet. It's grating.
Oh, what? I don't understand. You mean this?
Stop it, you jerk!
Yes! I finally dragged you down to my level! I knew you could be broken! Oh, I feel so much better about myself. I gotta go tell Darwin!
Whatever makes you happy, my friend.
But it turns out he was just faking it to make Gumball happy. Alan was really likable in this episode, and Gumball was just Gumball, which sounds kind of weird to say because in this episode, he literally ends Alan's social life, relationships, sells his parents into balloon slavery. Not kidding on that last one.
I sold your parents.
What?
I said I sold your parents.
Now, who wants to see balloon tricks?
No, please! I have a son! Dexter, make it stop!
Dude, how can you be smiling at this?
Look at the happiness they're bringing to those children. It's beautiful. Also, they're balloons, you know. It's not that bad. He's made me into a hat!
We gotta get everybody here checked out. We gotta get Gumball checked out. We gotta get Alan checked out. I don't think there's a single mentally stable person on this show. But low-key, this episode works in my opinion because there are things to like and not like about each character. You like Gumball's relatability, you like Alan's sainthood. And Alan's kind of full of himself, but you know, so is Gumball. And Alan, despite everything that's been done to him by Gumball, he's still a nice friend in the end, which really surprised me. I think I would actually be more satisfied if Alan ended up snapping and actually going crazy on Gumball. But you know, I'm fine with this too. Once again, another Gumball episode where no one is rooting for Gumball. Episode 32, The Friend. We realize that Anais is trying to throw a party once we see her family trying to steal the cupcakes that she had planned for her guests to eat. And she has to fight them all off from actually getting a piece of her food. There's this actual sort of war scene as Gumball and Darwin try to work their way through the beaches of Normandy to get to the illustrious cupcakes that don't even end up being cupcakes.
These aren't cupcakes! They're lemons! And the icing is baking soda!
The real stuff is in the shed.
Then when the party day comes, nobody's there. We realize this because Anais has absolutely no friends, so she didn't invite anybody. It's the same. So the boys try to set her up with a brand new imaginary friend to play with, which turns out to not be so imaginary.
Right. Well, Anais, looks like we found someone as socially awkward as you.
Why don't don't you guys try and be friends? Go on.
Come on, guys, make an effort. Make eye contact. Come on. Come on. I said eye contact. Let's try a smile. Like this.
More teeth. We need more teeth. Good?
You want to make friends with a straitjacket?
It somehow turns out that the exact guy that they were imagining in their head was a real person. And not just any real person. This man is a criminal breaking into people's backyards that's wanted in 39 counties. It boils down to a police standoff since the imaginary friend just wants to end all this and wants to stop the problems that he caused for his new friend. So he threatens the police that if they use anything, he'll pop him in, which after drinking soda will make him explode. And we all know what's the deal with the police. They're dumb as hell. The police preemptively shoot their tasers, which causes a chain reaction that leads to his...
Can we get much higher? So high.
The wildest thing about this though is that after he exploded, the police didn't even clean up his body parts. Like, somebody else will clean them up. But since they didn't, all of his pieces were in the right spot and the guy forms back together to meet with Anais again and say goodbye as he walks away off to another adventure. I also gotta say, I really like the character design in Gumball and how they can give literally any object a personality. Very fun and unique. Episode 33, The Oracle. Banana Joe's family is having a whole garage sale and the gang finds a weird set of paintings that seem to predict the future. They were all painted at times before the events that they painted happened, and these were all painted by Banana Joe's mom, Banana Barbara.
Okay.
Dude, Barbara is like the best name for a female banana I've ever heard. Actually, I don't know how many female banana names I've heard, but it's a good name. But in this collection of paintings that happened, the boys find a painting of something that hasn't even happened yet, where it seems to show Gumball being publicly shamed on live TV as everyone jumps on him being butt naked. And once they find this out, chaos ensues, and we see all the dominoes fall that lead up until this moment. This episode's sort of set up like a movie where we know the beginning and we know the ending. We just need to see in the middle how we got to that ending. That Fight Club structure, you feel me? We even get a reference at the end of the episode for some of next season's episodes, and I cannot wait till we get to those. If Banana Barbara draws it, shit's about to go down. Number 34, the safety. This might be one of the creepiest things I've seen in the cartoon.
Watch out, little Teddy. Little Teddy is very excited because it's cookie time. But watch out, little Teddy. Be careful around ovens! Little Teddy has seen a bird. Hello, little bird. But watch out, little Teddy. Be careful around windows! He is helping the senior citizen. That's kind of you, Teddy. It's nice to be nice. But watch out, little Teddy. Be careful around strangers! And cars!
We're going on adventures, we're having lots of fun. Remember to be frightened, being safe is #1.
Remember, kids, please take care, because danger's lurking.
I didn't even know what analog horror was, but I mean, low-key, if someone just uploaded this to YouTube and told me it was, that could definitely pass. After watching this cursed video on the importance of being safe, Darwin is absolutely traumatized and wants to make sure that no one gets hurt ever again.
What was that? Oh, what are you doing? Keeping you safe. You almost stepped in a puddle. You could have slipped, or worse, drowned!
Dude, I think you might be overreacting just a teeny tiny bit.
I love you too much to let you get hurt. I'll keep you safe. I'll keep everyone safe. Are you kids all right?
But Darwin wants to keep the whole world happiness, sunshine, and rainbows, and in his effort to keep people safe, goes a little bit too far, and he literally gaslights everyone into thinking he's right. And I don't know how he did it, but it took like a day, and he ascended to dictator-level power, and plans to take over the entire world with his new safety plan. Most people will only remember this episode for that cursed video at the beginning, but I feel like it should all be held in higher praise, because literally every bit was a great one. No misses the fourth wall-breaking fight scene.
Leave this to me. Did anyone see what happened? I'm pretty sure I didn't hit this guy.
Hey!
What's going on? I didn't even touch him.
I think Darwin still has the child lock on.
Twiddle? What
Are they now censoring the sound effects as well?
My favorite joke has to be the Roadrunner and Coyote bit where they're kind of forced to be safer. I just thought it was really clever how it was executed and the little references to the actual show. It's so absurd how far it goes and I love it. What political ideology is it? Number 35, the Society. Gumball's head is so big. I love how it mashes into the floor. Gumball has a full-on bad luck streak and just assumes that the world is out to get him. When in reality, he's just getting karma for all the things that he's done in his life. But no, he thinks his bad luck is something more. He thinks that there's a secret society out there trying to get him, and he'll do anything to join, including being a straight-up menace to normal society. So to get him to stop being a freak, everyone has to act like they're really in the secret society and lure him in. This is one of the first times in the show that I can firmly say that Gumball carried. Even though he's being a little obnoxious to everyone around, I think all the jokes he dropped were funny, and even his actions of him just being a menace was so funny to see. But everything in this one, except the ending, was alright, because in the ending I didn't really get why they apologized to Gumball, even though he was the one doing all the bad stuff. Number 36, the spoiler. There's a new popular horror movie that's come out, and the boys gotta wait to see it because they don't have enough money on hand. But uh-oh, it seems like they've waited too long to see it, and now everyone's gonna be saying spoilers all throughout everywhere. This is basically when Endgame dropped, the episode. Penny shows up for like a second, so that immediately bumps this episode up to like the top tier, like number 1.
Don't worry, I won't reveal anything. I mean, who'd even want to know that the dentist... No,
please don't!
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, thanks.
The dentist is actually...
I want to unleash the evil spirits!
Dad, are you eavesdropping on us?
That was a real spoiler too, wasn't it?
Oh, yes it was, sorry.
Do you have any other spoilers, please?
Is anyone else eavesdropping?
Yeah.
It's still worth seeing the film, though.
Really?
At least for the special effects from the demons you released from the cellar. Wait, she was allowed to see it?
All right, bye, everyone.
But also, Anais is trying to see the horror movie as well, but since it's a big boy movie, the boys won't really let her. Individual background bits here were really creative as well. Like, once they actually got into the theater to watch the horror movie, Larry actually busts in the theater after he sees Anais in Gumball's backpack trying to pirate the movie. The horror movie audio in the background matches up with what's actually happening in the scenes.
Just keep going, he's right behind us.
It's right behind us! Faster! Okay, get down there.
As they run away from Larry. From Anais explaining pirating movies in like an actual reasonable way to the really relatable situation of trying to see a movie you can't see, I really dig this episode from top to bottom. Episode 37, the countdown! Tick-tock, start the clock. Gumball and Darwin need to get to school before the timer runs out or else they're expelled. And Miss Simi is hot on their tail. And the time's running lower and lower and lower until they almost make it to class until one slip up where Gumball not only breaks the timer, but literally breaks time itself. So they can go around and do whatever they want, including play around with people's lifeless bodies, throwing people around, and going into whatever store or place they want to. But they realize that being frozen in time kind of blows, because you're moving so fast that half the things you do don't even function. So the boys decide to try and reverse time back to this morning so they could, you know, start the day over again, but end up accidentally going a little too far.
Too far. Let's go back a little.
They went all the way back to see the monkey. Bow down to me, monkey. Gumball mixed with time manipulation and the universe, that's just an accurate equation for a good-ass time. It's like a Rick and Morty episode.
What are you guys doing here?
We're here to watch the fight. What fight? The one about who gets to go back to the present.
And their bit of slightly going back in time and changing the future a little bit and coming back has been done a ton already, but I just think Gumball's is abstract enough to be hilarious. How literally every single time they change it, so the smallest thing, something incredible happens. Oh god, this is a universe where the Germans won. Oh god. Episode 38, the Nobody! Let me ask you a question. Who is this guy? Do you remember this guy? Do you remember his name? Well, Gumball doesn't. No one does. Not even he knows, since he lost his memory from swim freak accident. He has no family, no friends, and no home that he can never remember. And right now he's just living underneath Gumball's house, as that was the sort of place that he found was easy to sneak into. And when Gumball and Darwin actually find him, they find him pondering his life and seeing if it has any sort of meaning or purpose. But once he finally talks to Gumball, it gives him a clue on who he used to be. Back in the Void World, Rob was someone that was left behind, forgotten by the universe, who was nothing but an extra in season 1 and never used again, sort of like Molly. But they went to go save Molly and not him, and he was actually able to cling his way out by holding onto the back of the van in the Void episode. And poof, he popped back out looking different and disfigured. And since Gumball left him behind, he has sworn to be his worst enemy.
I will be your worst nightmare. I will destroy everything you care about. I will take away everyone you love. I will be your nemesis.
Oh, cool. Glad we could help.
Honestly, having a whole episode just to introduce Rob as a character is a pretty good idea considering how important he's going to be for the show later on. This episode isn't really much on its own, and I didn't even really know where to place it because it kind of just felt like a continuation to The Void. It didn't really feel like a full episode, so I just decided to smack it on the back of its predecessor. Episode 39, The Triangle. Darwin, after showing that he's goated on the flute, gets to play in the school band for the big game, and he has a huge solo too, replacing Leslie and leaving Gumball behind to just be a loser playing the triangle. So Darwin is on top of the world, and instead of focusing on their own faults or working to better themselves, both Gumball and Leslie both blame other people for their own downfall and try to sabotage Darwin to bring him back down to their miserable level. And I love it. This not only makes fun of everyone who's like this, trying to drag down people from success, but also criticizes Darwin for leaving his friend behind. And this one helped me realize that as much as I like the darker and creepier episodes of Gumball, I also love it when Gumball kind of hits that sweet spots with their colors. If they're all bright and yellows and orange and that vibrant sound of the crowds. This is such a big setting instead of the awkward cramped spaces or the small halls of the school. This is something that they haven't really shown before, and it's really cool to see. And they didn't actually end up sabotaging him at all. Darwin just messed up on his own, so I mean, you can't even really blame the two. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of that ending, but it was just a punchline at Darwin's expense, so it's whatever. In episode 40, The Egg. This orange woman, this is the most unlikable person in the entire show.
You are not good enough. They are not good enough. You've either got it or you haven't. And you haven't. So just be happy with who you really are. Fair enough. You want to see who I really am?
This is probably the first time I've had a civilized conversation with anyone in this house.
I concur. Most social interaction with people my age is mere piffle and whimsy.
This woman and her little blue kid you might have seen before are Felicity and Billy Parham, and they're the Wattersons' rich, posh neighbors. So to climb the social ladder, Nicole invites Felicity over to her house to hopefully gain some sort of trust and some sort of help and friendship and benefit between them. Although it immediately backfires because their family is just too weird for any guest. Anais and Billy start to actually chop it up and bond on how intelligent they both are, being both little kids and smarter than the rest of their entire families. I mean, no duh, this dude would be smart. He's literally all brains. I'd be surprised if he wasn't. But then they leave to go and spend a day together, and it's a very cute time until the parents actually have to find out where they went and work together. But at the end, these two kids do end up hating each other anyway, so there's no forced friendship between Nicole and this orange demon, which is not a good character that's never been funny. And neither has Billy, but you know, Billy's a little bit better. You know what, dude? I'm saying it, dude. Fucking dude, I'm saying it, dude. I would not be upset if neither of them showed up again, but they do. So that's gonna be it, though. This is my final ranking for season 3, and let's move on even deeper to the whole new era of Gumball, season 4. Yo, I just realized that was a pretty bad outro. Here I am, 1 a.m. Thank you so much for watching this. This is the biggest video I've ever made, and the most passion I've ever put into a video. If you've made it to this point in the video, you are officially on my top 10 favorite people list of 2022. So thanks for leaving a view, or maybe even a like, or maybe even a comment on this. This project has been so big for me as a creator, and just in general. So yeah, I appreciate all the support. I'm gonna go and try and get this done. Deuces.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. If you like RT60, you should like and